It's just the attention to detail.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The Ravens are 8-0 in Thursday night home games. They'll host the Bengals tonight, and Baltimore is a 6.5-point favorite on ESPN Bet. In the first meeting, an overtime Ravens win, Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow threw for a combined 740 yards and 9 touchdowns. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports Ravens corner Tre'Davious White not expected to play tonight. 76ers guard Tyrese Maxey will likely miss 2 weeks with a sore right hamstring. That from ESPN's Shams Charania.
He will need to take his time. This is a soft tissue injury. The Sixers are going to take it very, very seriously. I've spoken to his agent, Rich Paul, at Clutch Sports, and they will make sure that he's going to be 100% when he comes back to the floor. This Sixers team, obviously, that's been battling injury. 1-6 so far this year.
Shams Charania on First Take. The Sixers play tomorrow night on the road against the Lakers. Texas Longhorns sophomore wideout Jonte Cook II no longer with the program. Coach Steve Sarkisian calling it a mutual decision.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming on Friday. I'll tell you why a good performance by Cooper Rush and a win by the Cowboys won't be a good look for Dak and his legacy. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride! Go!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Decision Critical, concierge nursing service in Baton Rouge. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Shut up, kid! Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yes, sir. And Mr. W. Tom Blake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Erik McCoy returns for the Saints. Tigers getting ready for Bama. A live Tiger on the field. What? It's AFR. Let's go.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Of all the stories I thought I would be chasing down the week of LSU-Alabama, I didn't have a live tiger in his cage on the field on my bingo card.
You didn't?
Okay. Maybe a little like rim shot or a womp womp or something. No, nothing over there. Nothing. Got nothing. Great. Awesome. Fantastic. We're off to a rip-roaring start. Wonderful. Yeah, I make fun of people who say, I hate when people say I didn't have fill in the blank on my bingo card. It's lazy and annoying. Anyway, so, yeah, I got word. I got word last night. I can't believe I'm leading with this. It's Thursday of LSU-Alabama week, and the story that has gone viral is this story about LSU. It's not even LSU. It's the governor that's going to have a tiger on the field in Tiger Stadium on Saturday. Got word of it. Did a lot of vetting over at LouisianaSports.net, and we ran with the story today. And yeah, the governor of Louisiana had made it known that he wanted to reinstate the tradition of bringing Mike the Tiger on the field. There were a lot of concerns about current Mike the 7th, because he's 8 years old. He spent his entire life in captivity at obviously at LSU and his habitat there. He's never been in the trailer cage. He's never been into Tiger Stadium, and they were concerned about his well-being, his like emotional well-being. And governor wanted to do this anyway, so they went and found a tiger out at an outside of Louisiana sort of refuge camp or these wildlife sanctuaries, and they're going to have a tiger. I was told the tiger's name is Omar. That's not a joke. I was told the tiger's name is Omar. So this will be forever known as the Omar game. If LSU loses, God forbid, if LSU loses Saturday to Alabama, I wonder if this will go down in infamy like the Purple Pants game. You know, like LSU, Kentucky, they rolled out the purple pants, and LSU lost to Kentucky in 95. Maybe a better one. Wasn't it 07 when Georgia rolled out the black uniforms against Alabama? Was that 07 or 08? No, it wasn't 08. Maybe it was. No, it was. I'll tell you, it was 07. I know where I was. You know where? Do you want to know where I was watching that game?
Where were you?
I was in Miami, Florida. It was the last game of the old Orange Bowl. And LSU played Louisiana Tech. That was the game where Hester had his 80-yard touchdown run, and the ref outran him. Shout out 18. Anyway, I was like, I got to go see a game at the Orange Bowl before they shut that thing down. So I hopped on a flight, went down to Miami, went to that game. By the way, total economy trip. And I learned a lesson that day that you live and learn. Like, I will never go on an economy trip again. You don't go on an economy trip by that I mean, like, I got the cheapest flight, the cheapest rental car, the cheapest hotel. Like, that ain't the way to do it. And you end up in some bad situations in a place like Miami where you're just trying to find the cheapest. Anyway, my brother and I were in some bar across the street from the Orange Bowl watching that game. And in Alabama, wasn't that 07? 07?
I'm looking at it right now because I thought it was the
I watched a Georgia game when Georgia was wearing all black in 07, and I was at that bar in Miami across the street from the Orange Bowl. Look up.
It was not 07. Georgia.
What game?
It was 08 because they were in 07. They were at Bama, and Georgia was in their traditional.
Look
road.
up the 07 Georgia schedule because they wore black. God, I swore they would have worn black in 07 at least once. Anyway, let me not get sidetracked. That game, to Georgia fans, they laugh and call it like they were dressing for their – wasn't it the line after the game they were dressing for their own funeral? The Purple Pants game, like the promotions you do that you think will go really well and you wonder if it goes badly, that you're now forever tainted with that. This would be the Omar game. If Omar the Tiger, if in fact this goes poorly, everyone's going to look and say, the reason they lost is because they brought Omar the Tiger in from Florida. In any event, listen. I don't know how you feel about the Tiger thing. I'll tell you this. I love the tradition. I've ranted for a lot of years, somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but I am serious. Like, Tiger lives a great life. All I'm asking is 7 days a year, you get your ass in a cage and take one lap around the field. It ain't asking too much. I understand you got an 8-year-old Tiger. There are other considerations, all that sort of stuff. And I don't know that I love bringing in a Tiger from another state. It kind of needs to be Mike the Tiger. I'm a little uneasy about it not being Mike the Tiger. You know, it's like it's an imposter. Like, I wonder if they thought like they were going to sneak the other Tiger in and like pass it, almost like in Meet the Parents. You painted the cat's tail, fucker. Like, it's just, like,
what a great comp.
Did they think they were going to like just sneak in Omar the Tiger?
I'm willing to say yes. I really am.
We're gonna have a tiger. We're not gonna tell anybody it's not Mike. They're not gonna know the difference.
Right.
Just a big tiger. But there's a giant tiger in the cage across the street. Oh, they can move him inside.
They could have moved him inside.
We can make it happen. I would love to know the thought process behind all.
You'd have had to done this late at night too, man, with all the people that are going to be on campus tomorrow.
Sneaking a tiger in.
That's hangover style.
Like how do you sneak? Yeah, like how do you sneak?
Roofies and a steak.
Like where? And then the other thing is like where are they going to keep Omar until it's time? Maybe at the zoo.
Maybe
keep Omar until.
But I mean, then there's other tigers at the zoo. How's he going to get along with them?
They could probably have a seclusion area. I bet.
Yeah.
And I don't know. But this is pretty fascinating. Fascinating stuff. I mean, it ain't like Georgia. You can get another bulldog, right?
Yeah, they've had like 10 of them, haven't they?
I just mean like it's a bulldog. I mean, there's bulldogs everywhere. You can get a bulldog. Or A&M, you can get a collie, you can get a pretty dog, whatever. They're all over the place. Like, you're bringing a tiger in here.
Yep.
That's something, man. Governor wanted it done. Got it done, man. Live tiger. I wish it was Mike. So if we're not going to get Mike 7, and I'm kind of resigned to the fact, right? We're not going to be able to get Mike 7 to get his behind in the cage and take a lap. When Mike 7 dies and we go to Mike 8, we got to get Mike 8 as a little tiger cub, and we got to, like, train him. You know, like whenever you're training your dog, when you're kennel training your dog?
Yeah.
I mean, it gets to the point where they love to be in the kennel. It's counterintuitive. You think they wouldn't love it. No, they love it. It's like their little habitat. I mean, when I had my boxers, I crate trained my dogs. Like, they would just go sit in there with the door on. They would just choose to go sit in their kennel. It's their little spot. You got to crate train Mike 8 whenever he comes along so we can do this again. Look, they pipe in crowd noise at the practice field. We could pipe in crowd noise, like have Mike take a few laps, little practice laps when he's a little tiger cub. Just get him used to it. You know, maybe bring him out to a baseball game. This is what a crowd is like. You know, bring him out to the practice field. This is what football is. I like this. Got to get him back. It ain't gonna happen with Mike 7. We got Omar. We got interim Mike. We got
stunt double.
He's a
stunt double,
We got Mike's
bro.
stunt double. Oh man. Omar the Tiger.
It just doesn't have the same ring to it, now does it?
For what it's worth, we did not include the name Omar in the story at LouisianaSports.net. But suffice to say, this has gone a little bonkers. I think every news outlet in the world is picking this up. I'm here for it. I don't love that it's Omar. I don't love that we're bringing in a Tiger. But I fully endorse when Mike 8 comes along. Let's get him coached up. You know, let's get him coached up from birth to be able to do this so we can get this tradition back. Because what was Mike? So when Mike the 5th died, they brought in Mike the 6th.
Yes.
And they got him from a place in Indiana. And his name was, what was Mike the 6th's name when they got him?
Didn't it start with an R? Wasn't it?
It was like
Roscoe. Wasn't it Roscoe?
I think it was Roscoe.
Yeah.
It was Roscoe the Tiger. They got Roscoe. And so Roscoe was kind of already like an adult tiger when he became Mike. You know, you get a little tiger cub, you know, then you can train him. Like potty training him. Like crate training him. That's what you got to do. You got to trailer cage train him to go around the stadium so we can do this again. These are the things that matter. And can we get a new Lacumba over at Southern as well while we're at it? Can we get a new Lacumba over there? What are we doing? What?
I haven't even thought of that.
Colorado's got their Buffalo.
Ralphie.
Ralphie the Buffalo, who's a girl, by the way.
Yeah.
They, Auburn's got their Eagle, whose name is Tiger, which is weird, but they do a lot of weird things. I mean, let's get this thing rolling again. I'm ready. I'm here for it. All right, it's after further review. Stanford Steve's going to join us next. College game days in town. What the hell? Let's get crazy. Stanford Steve next.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Spell it out, O-N-E, 1hourbr.com. Hey, how many Omar the Tiger signs do you think will be at game day now? Lots? I think we're going to see some Omar the Tiger signs, I'll bet. And that's the only place you heard it was here, Omar the Tiger. But listen, serious note. Call River City's 1 Hour Air. The cold weather season is imminent. It's 83 degrees right now, but I promise, eventually, it is going to get cold. And you're going to crank up your heater. Before you do, make sure that thing is efficient and safe to run. River City's 1 Hour Air. They'll come out to the house. They'll make sure your heater is in tip-top shape. So give them a buzz at 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. You can spell it out. Remember, mention the Moscona special. They'll knock $30 off the price. Make sure that heater is efficient and safe to run this cold weather season. It's River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you in a new 2024 Ram 1500 truck for only $32,898. $32,898 for a new Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Join us at Pro Dreams in Mandeville for our special event, A Day of Champions. Meet LSU National Championship winning head coaches Jay Johnson, Skip Burtman, and Paul Maneri. Don't miss your chance to purchase authentic sports memorabilia, autographed by the champions themselves. It's the perfect opportunity to celebrate LSU baseball and take home a piece of history. Visit pro-dreams.com to get your tickets. See you there.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a $1 million.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalvr.com.
College game day makes its return. I mean, Stanford Steve will be in the house. Good enough to join us now. How are you, man?
What's up, buddy? How are you been?
Doing awesome, man. It's good to hear your voice. Good to have you guys back in Baton Rouge. When was the last time you were here?
You know, I'm in the equipment room right now, headed out to practice, and I was just going through it with Lewis. I couldn't go in 19, but I went to the Ole Miss game in 19, and that obviously was in Oxford. I think it's the 16 Bama game.
Oh, my God.
That's how long it's been for me.
Bro, that was...
Because, like, the end zone suites had just gotten done. Yeah, and then I was going through the box scores. Like, I think I did 9 straight from Nick's first game back here. That was 08 to 16. I was at every Alabama LSU game, no matter where it was. And I do remember last year you gave me the business for picking Alabama.
I gave you the business?
Right. Yeah, you guys were giving it to me. I did the pick segment with you guys.
You were? Yeah, that's right. Well, we were trying to decide if you were our guest picker last year or 2 years ago. I couldn't remember.
No, last year.
Well,
sure.
you know, Steve, had I known that Dallas Turner was going to be dirty as hell and completely target Jaden Daniels and obliterate him, I should have known because Nick was good to do that from time to time. Sick his dogs on people. I mean, suffice to say, Steve, the game fundamentally changed when Jaden Daniels left. Hey,
no doubt.
This will be also your first time seeing a live Tiger in Tiger
Stadium.
Yeah,
I heard.
I want some outside perspective. Omar the Tiger, Mike's stunt doubles coming in. What do you think about this?
Well, I am just very happy because my daughters are diehard LSU fans, and they have the Mike the Tiger camera on their iPad, so they check in on Mike all the time. And I was just bracing how I was going to tell them if they went on the iPads and Mike wasn't in his home and he was in the stadium. But now that we have the stunt double, we'll be all right on that end. I mean, you hear stories about it, Matt, all like, from years past before, I was ever even able to go here. I've talked to the guys that have played here as opposing teams and just be so weirded out about the whole idea and then seeing it. Talking to Nick, this week, he talked about it didn't have to do with the Tiger, but just the idea of whatever you guys are imagining Tiger Stadium is going to be, it's going to be 100% worse than your thoughts. So he did talk about his return trip. I'm sure we'll get that in on the show Saturday, but just the idea how they let the students in early. He did his lap around the field, and there was a couple adjectives chanted before his name. So it was. I was here for that. You felt it in the air, it was something I'll never forget. And then to see what this has grown, these two teams playing has grown into, is something special, man. I really am fortunate to be at as many of these as I have, and we're set up for. I mean, you never thought you could up the stakes for the game until there's a national championship at stake. But this is basically, your postseason lives are at risk in this game, knowing that both teams already have 2 losses, and I can't wait to see it play out.
Hey, Steve, I'm glad you went to the Saban angle because we've obviously talked about that a lot this week. I'm curious your thoughts on that dynamic on Saturday with for the first time since 2007, Nick not being on the sideline for Alabama.
Yeah.
How much? I'm talking about the game itself. Like, how much does that impact what you think happened Saturday?
A lot. I do. There was a general, I think from outsiders just talking to people and hearing how they talk about Alabama now with him not being in there and him on the show, and just the idea of, I think some people still look at, the crimson helmet with the number on it, and there's an image and a perception, and I think some people, more and more now that we've seen them lose twice on the road, have taken back. Like they don't fear them. They don't take the mystique of Nick's teams there. And you've seen teams play like that. I mean, they played a schedule where I don't think they haven't played a team with a losing record. And for all the bad that is said about them, I thought they've responded pretty well in those circumstances. You go back to the Tennessee game. If you told me that Tennessee was going to score 24, I was going to say they would lose. I thought Alabama would score more. And, Milroe got caught in some instances there. They should have been up more points at halftime, and they weren't. And they set themselves up. But, no, I look at, I've followed Kalen DeBoer. I've known his story from going back to Indiana. I thought the world of him as a play caller, and it's a really fine line of taking that job. And I think you've seen frustration levels from the team and with some antics on the field, and to him personally how he's handled certain situations. But there's a change, and people don't like change, but it came a time, and they are where they are, and he's in charge. So it's a monster test coming here Saturday for sure.
Stanford Steve's with us. You'll get him at Stanford Steve 82. He's at LSU, about to go out to the practice facility right now, watch the Tigers work out. What's been your impression of this LSU team so far through 8 games?
I think it's been an improvement. I mean, I was on the sidelines for the South Carolina game, and I really started wondering, it didn't look different from last year. And the whole offseason with getting Blake to come over as DC, I just used it can't be worse than it was last year. And then I'm watching that game, and Sellers is running, Rocket Sanders is going up, and just it didn't look like not even assignments, but alignment. Like, guys didn't look like they were aligned right, and you saw how that quarterback run gashed them. But you know what? They stayed in the fight, man. And being on the sidelines, seeing the offensive line, constantly come back and try and figure out a run game and then get the run game going. And that's the difference in that game. They got the run game going. It gave them some balance. It gave Nuss some time to throw when they needed it on third downs, but they found some balance amid total chaos. I mean, that game, I haven't seen a crazier game this year with the ebbs and flows and the momentum swings and the stoppages because of replay and penalties. But I thought I was really impressed with LSU because that was a remarkable job of just staying in the fight and getting a big win. And it kind of stinks because the outsiders don't look at it. You see 5-3 South Carolina now. I've called them. I'm trying to give them a compliment. They're the best 5-3 team in America.
I know.
There's no doubt in my mind. But to get that and build towards what they've been able to do, building up to the Ole Miss game and staying in that game, being down early, staying in it, and overcoming and taking the lead on the final play of the game. And then you go to A&M. I've been at A&M. I think Elko is up there for Coach of the Year. I think what he's done in just handling the quarterback situation alone has been really, really impressive. And you're in it. You know, you come out, you make some plays, you get the ball to your guys, and LSU makes plays, and then, you know, you lose assignments because it was so puzzling to me. You know, people throw out, it looks like they didn't practice it. I'm like, BS, man. Like, they were great against Taylor Green the week before in the same kind of quarterback runs, you know?
Yep.
And it was just very puzzling. But I thought that was just a case of momentum. And, you know, the momentum swing on Nuss's pick really energized it. And the idea of seeing that side, talking to people that were on the A&M sideline and seeing the juice when he made the move, I thought was really, really telling. And that's a place, man, that swoon comes. That's a hard place to win. When you get down double digits, it's just too much. The way A&M's run game was going that night. So, you know, now you're off a bye. You got time to get ready. You know what? You know, I went back and watched Milroe last year and talking to Nick about things they put in for that game. And, you know, it's more designed. It's not really a traditional, you know, ride and decide, which A&M is. This is more a constructed, whether it's quarterback counter or quarterback power. So it's a different approach, and LSU knows that. But you got to be on your P's and Q's as far as assignments. Whereas it can really get free against the way A&M does it. Now you got some construction. You know where lead blockers are going and where they're coming from. So LSU has to be better in assignment football.
Stanford Steve, hey, two more things before you go. One, Paul Skeens, Livy Dunn. Who are you more excited to meet?
I'm not a follower of either on Instagram. I will say I'm more familiar with Paul's work. I will say that.
All
okay?
Right. Even like, so are you not a gymnastics fan?
I've tuned in a little bit. I mean, like I got the little daughters. Like they're super fired up.
Yeah, man. Natty champs, man.
Yeah, and they're also they might murder me if I don't go to the LSU women's game tomorrow night. So I have to go to that. And so yeah, there'll be some FaceTimes going on there. But yeah, no, I've checked out the gymnastics. I've just seen a lot more. I mean, Skeens has been awesome going back to his days here and following him, you know, to that championship, and then seeing what he did in baseball. I'm a baseball guy, so I'm definitely more familiar with Mr. Skeens.
Okay, better coach. We do this is rapid fire. Brian Kelly or Kalen DeBoer?
Brian Kelly.
Jalen Milroe or Garrett Nussmeier?
Nussmeier.
Oh, and where's the game played?
Tiger Stadium.
So better.
I'm calling it the Mecca.
Better.
I don't know if people, that's what it is to me.
Please go on about the Mecca. I would rather hear you talk about the Mecca.
It's the greatest place, and you know what's great is being at Penn State. I never was a fan of Penn State, and being there last week, it was really good to you know churn those fan bases, because I kept saying, you know, this is Ohio State's second toughest atmosphere they'll play in, because they were at Austin for a night game last year, and you guys you know, are saving the whiteout for a night game. And they did not like that much. And then, you know, they said, where do we compare? I said, well, Tiger Stadium's in its own tier. And you know, you guys live it. And trying to explain to people, I actually have a couple buddies from Connecticut that just decided, I said, get down there. If you're going to go to one game, get down here for this. So, I keep selling it, and it gets, I mean, you could really, really feel like talking to, you know, I was over at Phil's for lunch, and the guy's talking about what that felt like, the Ole Miss game, and you could feel it resonate through the TV. And when you've been here, you know what it is. And Ole Miss has fought those ghosts for a long time here, but it really resonated through the television, and I cannot wait to see. I mean, you know, Alabama has struggled in that Tennessee environment. You go back, Milroe with the snap count in crucial spots, didn't get the job done, and you know, it's going to be a factor again. They have to handle things better than they did when they went to Neyland, and I think this place is that much better than Neyland. So the challenge is on the road team for sure. And as far as LSU goes, I will say, when you get this opportunity, you had it in College Station, you have to play well enough to win. That's the bottom line. And we'll see. we'll see. We know the people in the stands are going to bring it.
Mm-hmm.
Now the team's got to get that buttoned up approach and play great. And on a stage like this, it feels like it's been a while where these two teams we've had it. Or LSU. I mean, LSU's been an underdog every year at home against Bama for what is it now? 20 years.
Yeah, the last time they were favored was 2007.
Yeah, so there's plenty to play for here, and I cannot wait. There's not a better setting in the country.
So you got Brian Kelly, Garrett Nussmeier in a home game. I mean, Steve, who are you picking?
I got LSU.
Yeah, that's my guy. I tell you what.
And you touched on the things. I trust the idea of LSU in those situations more than what I've seen Jalen Milroe do on the road. And that's where, LSU's got to do their thing. Would like to see. I think everybody would like to see a little more balance in the offense. But quarterback taking care of the football is the highest priority. It's got to be the highest priority. In talking to BK in years past and how he values, not giving the other team the ball. That's crucial. And when these two teams have lost this year, that's been the issue is multiple interceptions. And you can't do that when you know what you have at stake in this game.
He's got LSU, our guy, Stanford Steve. Y'all get him at Stanford Steve 82. I've always wanted to say this. Take us to break, Steve.
Coming up.
You're the best. Thanks, man. We'll see you.
You got it.
The one and only Stanford Steve. We should have just hit it right there. Go.
AFR.
Brought to you by Glow Resources. glowresources.com. They are complete employer solutions. Coming up. He's so good. What a beauty. That's his line on SVP, on SportsCenter with SVP, if you're not familiar. Glowresources.com, glowresources.com. Complete employer solutions if you're a business owner and you are looking to hire the right people. If you're struggling to find the right people, you need Glow Resources. Look, they're not just going to send you resumes to send you resumes. They use their network, local, national, international, to find you the exact people you're looking for. And they work on your timeline. Even if you've had an experience with another third party, have a conversation to experience why working with Glow Resources is different. You'll understand why they have a 96% success rate. It's Glow Resources. Check them out online at glowresources.com. glowresources.com. Complete employer solutions.
The only thing scary about the deals at Bayou Ford is if you miss out on them, like $15,000 off F-150. Bayou Ford has $15,000 off Ford F-150. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a...
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
I think the Saints are going to win on Sunday.
Think they're going to beat the Falcons? Why?
Glad you asked. Divine intervention. I don't know if you know this, but the Pope Francis, is a diehard Saints fan. Makes sense, right? I mean, it's the New Orleans Saints, and he's the Pope. But if you haven't paid attention, the Pope has kind of made it a habit here of tweeting at the Saints every day. And so clearly in this wanting time for the New Orleans franchise, having the Holy Father on our side helps. Pope Francis tweeted, we cannot become #Saints with a frown. We must have joyful hearts that remain open to hope. Of course, when you use the #Saints on Twitter, the fleur-de-lis comes up behind it. It's the official hashtag of the Saints, of the New Orleans Saints. So the New Orleans Saints account, quote, tweets it, amen, #Saints. Oh, they were just getting ramped up. Pope Francis tweeted a couple days ago, the #Saints are precious pearls and are always living and relevant because they provide a fascinating commentary on the gospel. Their lives are an illustration of the good news that Jesus brought to humanity. God is our Father who loves everyone with boundless love. The Saints replied by, quote, tweeting with a photo of Gail Benson giving his Saints jersey to the Pope. Thank you for the prayers, Pontiff. We need that. So that's the best one. I mean, the self-awareness is so good. Oh, God. He wasn't done. Go back to November the 1st. The #Saints are formed by the Beatitudes, poor, meek, merciful, hungering for and thirsting for justice, seeking peace. They are filled with God and incapable of remaining indifferent to the needs of their neighbor. They bear witness to paths of light that we too can trod. Oh my God.
It's so awesome. Can we get Pope Francis on? Like, can Alelo help us out with that? Alelo's got to know the guy, right?
I think he's been in the same room with him.
I mean,
I don't know that actually gets you any closer to actually saying you know the Pope, or that you have any. I always wondered this because the Pope is still a priest. I don't want to say just a priest, but he is a priest.
Yes.
But kind of like if you show up to the Vatican wearing a collar, do you just get to walk in? Is that your fast pass at the Vatican? Is the collar the fast pass at the Vatican?
They just wave you through the gate at the front.
Come on.
Yeah, it's good. Come on.
Oh, you got it? Look, hey. You just you hold up your bracelet. Like if you're going backstage, you hold up your bracelet, you show them. It's like you walk up, you just you unzip your jacket. Hey, look, collar. Priest. Oh, it's Priest? Yeah. Thank you, Father.
Yeah, please pull forward, Father.
Thank you for your prayers, Pontiff. We need...
It's so... I mean...
the levity is just so good in this moment. I mean, everything has just been so bad around this organization. And there's Gail Benson delivering a Saints jersey to Pope Francis in the tweet.
The comedic timing just could not be...
Oh, man.
It could not be more perfect. Pope Francis. Yeah.
Diehard Saints.
The Holy Father of the Who Dat Nation.
You think somebody can tell him, hey, when you use hashtag, you're tweeting at the football team?
Yeah.
Maybe he knows. This is what I'm going to choose to believe. I'm going to choose to believe that he knows and is continuing to do it.
I mean, the evidence supports that because this is like the third time in a week.
Yeah. He keeps tweeting about the Saints. Now, I don't think he's necessarily checking his replies on Twitter every day. You know what I mean?
No.
He's probably not doing that.
If ever.
Somebody's got to be like, say, dog. Hey, Francis. Hey. Whenever you use the hashtag. What is hashtag? I don't know what accent that was that I just did.
It was not Italian.
I don't know what that was. You can use a little pound sign thing. Yeah. The football team gets it. Football? No, the other kind of football. Remember the lady with the very nice lady with the big hair brought you the jersey? Papa Francesco jersey? Oh, yeah. That thing. Saints. Yeah. Do it anyway!
What?
Your guy just...
What in the world?
I don't know, though.
That was so bad.
I don't know, though.
That was so bad. Worth it, though. But so bad.
Let's go around the SEC. Save me
The
from this awful bit.
SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Florida Gators.
DJ Lagway's hurt, but they said he's going to try to play against Texas.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Trey Harris is hurt, and he's game time decision this weekend, but doubtful against Georgia.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Maxwell Hairston, the defensive back, is expected to return next week against Murray State, but they stink anyway.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
South Carolina's working on an NIL package for Edge Dylan Stewart that would total $1 million to $1.5 million. Good for him.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
And four-star wide receiver C.J. Wiley. Remember him, Chuck Wiley's son, who committed to Florida State? Well, they stink, so he decommitted. Now he's committed to Georgia. There you have it. That is Around the SEC. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Not the fastest Around the SEC ever. Might be. Did everybody get the stories?
Yeah, I mean, you covered it. Yeah.
LMFJ. I got to save time for Fantasy Blitz. We got Darin Tietgen coming up.
Big game tonight.
Huge game tonight. Joey B. A little surprised Joey B isn't the guest picker. Plays tonight. Could have made it down. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. Getting closer to Christmas, closer to the holiday season. Gentlemen, thrill her with a gift under the tree this Christmas with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Of course, diamond rings, earrings, tennis bracelets, pendants, watches, both men and women's watches. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, 9 locations in all. Check them out, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, Fantasy Blitz, when we come back, our guy Darin Tietgen will be here. Before you set your fantasy football roster, check with our guys over at whotostart.net. So get your fantasy football questions in. Email us, tweet us, or text us. Fantasy Blitz is next.
AFR.
Man, if you were even thinking about selling your home, I'm going to give you Darren James's cell phone number right now. You don't want to call him? Fine. Text him. Here's the number, 225-335-7666, 335-7666, 335-7666, or you can go to agent225.com. Y'all, November is the number one month for real estate in this market. Very simple. Want to be in your new home for the holidays? Want to be in your new home for the new year? You sell your home in November. So, interest rates coming down, more buyers coming into the market. Not enough inventory means it's a perfect time if you are selling to call Darin James. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. There's a reason why Darin James is on the Wall Street Journal Real Trends list of the top 1% of realtors in America, number 13 in the country, number 1 in Louisiana. Why? Because nobody's going to get your home sold faster for more money than Darin James.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com. After further review, this is the Fantasy Football Blitz.
Do you know who I am?
Powered by whotostart.net.
Who the hell are you?
Whotostart.net. The Fantasy Football Blitz.
Who the bitten?
This is the Fantasy Football Blitz, powered by whotostart.net.
All right, let's do it. Darin, Tietgen, whotostart.net. Get your fantasy football questions in. Email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Darin, how are you?
I'm doing good. Looking forward to a nice game tonight.
Let's hope it is. I mean, it was a score fest earlier this year. We got Cincinnati and Baltimore. Certainly a lot on the buffet here. What are you keeping an eye on?
Yeah, I mean, obviously last game was a score fest. I'm not expecting, 69 points or whatever it was. Probably not that high of a scoring of a game, but both offenses are going to move the ball. Obviously, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, you're going to be playing those kinds of guys. Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, and even Mike Gesicki, the tight end for the Bengals, definitely playable.
What about sleepers this week?
Yeah, we've got a couple of wide receivers for you, and they're actually both named Jalen. Jalen Coker, rookie receiver for the Panthers, very good matchup against the Giants. Look for the Giants secondary to kind of key on Xavier Legette, so that should leave Coker open for some nice plays, especially in PPR format. Then another Jalen Tolbert, a little bit of a deeper sleeper here. Obviously, Dak Prescott is out, but CeeDee Lamb's a little bit banged up, and Jonathan Mingo just getting to the team. He probably won't even play. And the Philly secondary is a little bit banged up as well. So look for Jalen Tolbert and Jalen Coker this week.
All right, let's get to questions. Email us, Matt at 1045ESPN.com. Tweet us at Matt Moscona, or you can jump in the Bayou Forward YouTube chat on the Watch 1045 ESPN YouTube channel, or text 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Get it started with Dylan. Said, hey, Darin, a 1-point PPR, Puka or Hunt for his flex position? Who to start?
Man, that's tough. Both guys have good matchups. Both guys should possibly, probably find the end zone this week. I think in the PPR format, you're going to lean slightly to the wide receiver. So it's Puka, but it's close.
Donovan says he's got Bowers has a bye week, so he's looking at Mike Gesicki or Taysom Hill. Who to start?
Yeah, with Hill, I think it's kind of touchdown dependent. With Gesicki, with Higgins likely out, he's kind of been the Higgins when Higgins is not there. So I would probably play Gesicki tonight.
Matthew, he's got Tank Dell or DeAndre Hopkins. Who to start?
Man, it looks like D-Hop is turning himself into a number one wide receiver again. Obviously like Tank Dell, but the matchup's a little bit tougher. D-Hop looked great for the Chiefs last week and probably continues with that this week. So I would go Hopkins there.
Darin, getting some Saints questions in. What do you do in a week? I'll just sort of ask you a broad one. What do you think of the Saints right now with obviously the interim situation?
Well, I mean, obviously the interim coach is going to want to come out and make a name for himself. He's going to go with what really is most comfortable for guys like Derek Carr, obviously, and Alvin Kamara. I don't think that Kendry Miller is even on the active roster. I think he might be on IR. Jamal Williams, he's been hurt. So Kamara's going to see 100% of the running back snaps there. So I expect a lot of Kamara over the next couple of weeks.
Here's one from Greg. Who to start? He's got Xavier Legette or Josh Downs. That's a half-a-point PPR league.
Yeah, I'd probably go Downs there with Flacco at the helm. That Colts offense really looks a lot better than with Richardson, at least the passing game. So I would go Downs there.
Tony has a question. He's got running back. Here we go. PPR league. He's got Kamara, A-Chain, Kyron Williams, Chase Brown. Who to start?
Boy, that's a lot of good. That's a lot of good running backs. I'm definitely going to play Kamara in a PPR because he's going to catch 8 balls probably. Then A-Chain is probably your second best there. But if you're looking someone to sit there out of those 4, I would have to sit Chase Brown just because the matchup here tonight is a little bit tougher. The other 3 have much better matchups. They're all elite running backs.
Darin Tietgen, who2start.net. It's the numeral 2, who2start.net. Darin, remind people real quick before we get back to questions. Are we still doing the promo code?
Not the one that we had going on a couple weeks ago, but we always have the one that's the ESPN. I believe that gets you 10% off. All
right, so if you go to who2start.net, the numeral 2, who2start.net, use the promo code ESPN, you get 10% off. Tony, who to start? He's got 1-point PPR. He's got Chase Brown or Rachaad White.
We have both those guys rated about the same this week. Obviously, both are good pass-catching backs. Kind of like White's matchup a little bit better. Chase Brown, obviously going against that vaunted Ravens defense tonight. I think I'm going to plug in White there, but it's really close.
He is Darin Tietgen, who2start.net. It's our fantasy blitz. Darin, got to jump. We appreciate you as always. Y'all get to who2start.net. Get your personalized fantasy football advice. Thanks, man.
All right, thank you. Talk to you next week.
All right, it's our pleasure. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com, new and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. You'll sign then drive is back over at South Point Volkswagen. It's this easy. 0 down, 0 due at signing, no first month's payment, no security deposit. You sign your name, little else, you're driving away in a brand new Volkswagen from South Point Volkswagen. Go check out the Sign Then Drive event, the November sales event going on right now. 2024 Jetta for 2.9% for 60 months. Tiguan 0% for 60 months right now. You got to check it out at South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland or southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? All right, y'all, it's after further review. We always appreciate Darin for jumping aboard with us. We got a ton to delve into here in hour number 2. Coming up after SportsCenter, Erik McCoy. We'll get you the Saints injury report. Erik McCoy was back at practice for New Orleans, trending toward a return. We'll get to that. Pat Smith, longtime Alabama radio host and producer. He'll be with us in about 20 minutes from right now. We'll take a look at Alabama from the Bama perspective. Lee Sterling will be with us in less than an hour as well. We'll get Lee's best bets for the week, and then Mike Triplett in hour 3, as you well know, it's all coming up. So a jam-packed show, and glad to have you with us. Love telling you about Decision Critical, a concierge nursing service in Baton Rouge. Go to decisioncriticalbr.com, decisioncriticalbr.com. All right, when we come back, Erik McCoy back in tow for the Saints. We're getting to it next, AFR.
AFR.
Hey, if you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. I mean, listen, farmers have known about First South Farm Credit for more than 100 years. They've been first in agriculture since they opened their doors in 1916. So you need 1,000 acres for agriculture, First South Farm Credit, they've got you. But maybe you're looking to buy that recreational property. It's hunting season right now. You're sharing that lease. You're tired of sharing a lease with somebody else. You want your own place. First South Farm Credit can make that happen. Go to firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. Maybe you're retiring. You're selling your home. You want to move out into the country, build your family's dream home out there. You need the land. First South Farm Credit can help. Now, remember, while they're Louisiana-based and they help Louisianians buy land, they got branches in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and they can help you buy land in any of the contiguous 48. It's that simple. You need to buy land. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit.
The only thing scary about the deals at Bayou Ford is if you miss out on them, like $15,000 off F-150. Bayou Ford has $15,000 off Ford F-150. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Darin. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The best-kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The 6-3 Ravens host the 4-5 Bengals tonight, the first game of Week 10. Baltimore looking for a season sweep. ESPN's Jason McCourty wants to see more from Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson.
The top QBR in the pocket of any quarterback in the NFL this season, and his ability to pick defenses apart, get the ball over top of the baggers, hitting Zay and all of these guys on the outside. Can he do that against this Bengals defense the same way he did it in the first matchup earlier in the season?
Jason McCourty on Get Up. Our Jeremy Fowler reports new Bengals running back Khalil Herbert is expected to play tonight. He came over in a trade from the Bears just 2 days ago. ESPN's Shams Charania reports Bronny James will be active for the Lakers tomorrow night against the 76ers, and then he'll go to the Lakers' G League team, South Bay. Shams also reports Tyrese Maxey of the 76ers will likely be out 2 weeks with a sore right hamstring. He's been trying to play through the pain, but had to leave last night's game against the Clippers.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming on Friday. I'll tell you why a good performance by Cooper Rush and a win by the Cowboys won't be a good look for Dak and his legacy. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 2. Off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Decision Critical, Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Used to. And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Headed to Tuscaloosa, actually Birmingham to be specific. Our buddy Pat Smith from WJOX will be with us coming up here in just a smidge. We'll take a closer look at the Alabama Crimson Tide coming into Tiger Stadium this weekend. As the Tigers and the Tide, one team will get hung its third loss of the season for all intents and purposes, eliminating it from the college football playoff conversation. Lee Sterling at the end of this hour as well, give you his best bets, and Mike Triplett next hour. Saints injury report for Thursday is out. The most notable piece of news for Thursday is that Erik McCoy was back at practice. So Erik McCoy was injured in week 2, as we all recall, and hasn't played since. Went to IR. He was activated off of IR. So now this starts his 21-day activation window to be added to the active roster. So they have 3 weeks. Our guy Ross Jackson over at LouisianaSports.net reported that the target is the Rams game in Week 13. That is the target return for Erik McCoy, although he's doing everything he can to get back sooner. But this is a great sign that you're getting closer to full health. That's the last piece offensively. Obviously, Rashid Shaheed's done for the year, and there's uncertainty about Erik McCoy, not only this season, but his future. About Chris Olave, not only this season, but his future. But Erik McCoy, back at practice, opening up that 21-day window is a great sign that he's getting closer to his return. I did mention Chris Olave. Darin Rizzi, when he met with reporters, was asked about the possibility of Chris Olave going to IR. Here was that. It's number 11.
To clarify, Olave, just no decision yet on the IR part of it?
Yeah, no, we're just kind of taking that on a day-to-day basis.
And the follow-up was about Olave and if this injury is potentially career-ending.
I think he's taking it day to day, and when I say that, I mean like, all right, so is he ready to go anytime soon? Is he ready to go next week? Is he ready to go next month? And he's kind of looking at the whole thing. I think he's really smart in the process he's taking with the medical people, not just in our building, but outside of our building, some specialists. I don't think we've gotten to that point yet, though, Jeff. I mean, listen, everything's on the table. I mean, I can't sit here and tell you it's not, but I can't sit here and tell you we've even broached that yet.
So Olave had 2 concussions in college. He's had 4 now he's in his 3rd NFL season. He's had 4 concussions, and remember he was examined for a concussion in the Chargers game earlier this year. So this has been unfortunately consistent for Chris Olave. So we'll see what his future may be, but it is highly unlikely that you're going to see him play this weekend. So as you run through the injury report for Thursday, there were 4 DNPs that did not participate. Cedric Wilson, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Chris Olave, and then Lucas Patrick. Back-to-back days did not participate with the ankle injury. Everyone else on the report was either limited or full. Those that were limited, J.T. Gray, Rico Payton, Jamal Williams, John Ridgway. And then the full participants listed were Will Harris, Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara, Shane Lemieux, Nephi Sewell. And as I mentioned, Erik McCoy also limited his first day back at practice. So a good sign there. As the Saints continue on through this year, one of the things that will be obvious is you're going to get a better look, more accurate look at the Saints because they're healthier. So what we sort of expect as we look forward under Darin Rizzi and what we observe from this team, over the final stretch in the season for a team that's 9 games into a 17-game schedule. So you're 2-7, get 8 games to go over 9 weeks, and how much hay can you make? How much better can you get? Who are you going to take a look at? One thing's certain is this was the first practice under Darin Rizzi on Wednesday. Boy, it was, as Derek Carr said, the most plays he's ever run at a practice. So this isn't one of those things where they're easing up on the throttle. They're going harder, I believe, now with Darin Rizzi. And Rizzi talked about how his first practice went at the helm of the Saints.
Really positive feedback so far. Obviously, we just ended, but I thought, I talked to a lot of guys during the practice about, just the changes in the daily schedule, the changes in the practice schedule. It felt great to be out there, to be honest with you. I feel like we got a little energy out there today, a little juice, whatever you want to call it. I didn't feel like anybody was out there, just going through the motions. I felt like there was a great energy to it. The players could probably speak on that, but the tempo was great. So we got a lot of great work, and so I thought there was all the things so far have been very, very well received.
The other thing that, as we look at the Saints right now, as you turn the page from the Dennis Allen era and this acknowledgement, as we've all talked about, that they are moving on. Right? This is it's a very clear indicator. In firing Dennis Allen and trading Marshawn Lattimore, they are not doubling down to try to win now. The rest of the season is an evaluation of your roster. It is finding the path forward of how this organization is going to look. Well, one of the things that is going to be a giant question this weekend is the cornerback spot. Obviously, you traded Marshawn Lattimore, and Kool-Aid McKinstry, we just told you, hasn't practiced yet this week. He didn't play last week and now is on the injury report. Paulson Adebo is done for the year. So what do you do there? I mean, Alontae Taylor is kind of a given at this point, but Rico Payton is on the injury report. So what do you do at that cornerback spot? And Darin Rizzi was asked about Alontae Taylor and that cornerback spot, especially in light of the Marshawn Lattimore trade.
I think the first thing I would say is Marshawn wasn't playing. Obviously he's missed a lot of time. This year and last year, we've had to shuffle that deck before. I think it would be a bigger issue if we pulled him as a healthy player off the roster. We were having to deal with that already. It wasn't a pressing issue, if you will. And now back to Alontae. Alontae has played his best football, so far since he's been here this year, whether it's inside, outside. I had a great conversation with Alontae today. We need him to continue to play at a high level. Having a guy that is a flexible guy like that, and he can do a lot of different things. And so, like I said, that position, though, the defensive back position is a position that we've been a little bit banged up at. So getting guys back, some of those guys back is going to be a big deal, and that can help kind of remedy some of that losing Marshawn.
Now, he's right. In the last 2 years, Lattimore hadn't been a healthy player. He's missed the equivalent of a full season over the last 2 years. He's missed 10 and 7 games, respectively, the last 2 years. So, yes, in the last 2 years prior to this season, Lattimore had played effectively 1 full season. But this year, you had seen Lattimore play a good bit. He played in 7 games so far this year. Now, he missed 3, including the most recent game. But I would submit that I can't prove this, obviously. But if Marshawn Lattimore runs out there this weekend and plays for the Washington Commanders, I think it is safe to assume that Marshawn Lattimore probably could have played for the Saints last week against Carolina. Let me remind you about Devontae Adams. Word was spreading that maybe the Raiders were looking to shop Adams. They were shopping Adams. The Saints got in the mix. The Jets got in the mix. We all know the teams that were interested. And with that hamstring injury, Adams didn't play a couple weeks before. He's traded to the Jets, right on the field. Amazing how that hamstring issue just really cleared up and is no longer an issue, right? Look, it makes a lot of sense. Same thing in the baseball trade deadline. There's a guy that is going to be traded. You sit him. You don't want to risk any type of injury that could minimize or eliminate their trade value. So I think that was part of this. Even if the Saints maybe wouldn't admit it, but that'll be a telltale. If Lattimore goes out there and is playing this week for the Commanders, I don't think you're looking back going, oh, man, magically is the hamstring healed. No, I mean, they were sitting him because they knew they were going to trade him and didn't want to risk further injury to it. So see what happens there with Lattimore this weekend against the Commanders. But, yes, it is an opportunity. It is an opportunity for the New Orleans Saints to get a look at a lot of young guys and see what Alontae Taylor can be out there with no Lattimore anymore and obviously with Kool-Aid McKinstry not practicing yet this week. All right, y'all, it's after further review. Our Thursday shows are brought to you by Decision Critical. From birth to end-of-life care. Maybe you're having some type of procedure and you need some in-home nursing care. Decision Critical is your answer. Last week, sitting right here, I got an IV hydration therapy right here in the studio. If you want an IV, maybe you're feeling under the weather, you want to battle cold and flu season, or you just need better form of hydration. Remember, Decision Critical, they can help. Come to your office, come to your home. It's concierge nursing service. As they say, it's health care for your lifestyle. Check them out online. All the services they provide, decisioncriticalbr.com, decisioncriticalbr.com, decisioncriticalbr.com. Okay, y'all, let's head to Birmingham. Our buddy Pat Smith is going to join us next, take a little closer look at the Crimson Tide. It's AFR.
After further review.
Action Industries, proud partner of LSU Athletics. Yes, they've been servicing the petrochemical and refinery markets in our community since 1982. 42 years, Action Industries, continuing to grow and continuing to know exactly what they are. Maybe you have one of those mega projects going on right now where, you've got a $200 million project at thousands of employees, but you're struggling to find enough people. Action Industries can help you supplement your workforce for those mega projects. It's worth giving them a shout. ActionINDINC.com, Action Industries Incorporated. ActionINDINC.com for Action Industries Incorporated. Or maybe you've got that 100-person job and you just don't feel like the giant contractors make you their priority. At Action Industries, that's their sweet spot. You'll get their best people, their undivided attention, their best efforts. It's Action Industries. Action Industries, proud partner of LSU Athletics.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com. The Tigers are on the hunt. Let's head behind enemy lines to preview this week's matchup.
Tigers and Tide, but it'll look a lot different. No Nick Saban on the sideline for the first time since 2007. Our buddy Pat Smith from WJOX there in Birmingham. He's on Twitter at Pat Smith Radio. Y'all give him a follow. Pat, great to chat as always, man. How are you?
Matt, I'm doing so well. Now, technically, Nick will probably be on the sideline. He just won't have headsets on.
Are they going to let him on the sideline, or is he going to be up in a suite? I heard he was going to be in a suite.
He probably will be in a suite, and now that there's going to be a Tiger on the sideline, probably will not be down there.
Yeah. Old Omar the Tiger is going to be hanging out on the sideline for a little bit. Anyway, what weird thing. But anyway, hey, I'm curious. We've obviously had the Saban conversation here a ton. I mean, I've had it since literally the day he retired. But specifically for this week, Pat, how big of a deal is that, Nick not being there for Bama for the first time since 2007?
Well, it's big in the respect that they've already lost 2 football games. I mean, that's why it's a big story. I mean, if Kalen DeBoer had that thing continue to roll after the Georgia win, and then you go to Nashville and you throw up on yourself, then it becomes a problem. That's when people start, manipulating the idea of what Kalen DeBoer is not wearing on the sideline has anything to do with their rush defense or them not being able to stop teams on third down. So, yeah, it comes up. Not as much as many people probably think it does in regards to, man, I wish Nick Saban was back, things of that nature. But as far as this game goes, they know it's an elimination game. People, they understand, and I'll give you credit, Matt. I mean, we had you on our show back in spring ball, and you kind of laid out the season, and you told us that you fully anticipated that the game between LSU and Bama there in Baton Rouge in November was going to be an elimination game for the college football playoff. And my friend, you are Nostradamus when it comes to football, because here we are. That's exactly what this game is on Saturday night.
Strikes and gutters, man. You get something right. Everybody's going to remind you about the 10 things that you get wrong. But what is the – can you tell a material difference watching every snap of this team with what they were and what they are? Where would you notice a difference?
Well, in my opinion, like before the season started, and I'm sure Cole Kublik has shared this with you as well. He's been at practice. I have people that's at practice that give me intel, things of that nature. They said at practice, outside of obviously music blaring, doing things that the young kids like to have now at practices, for the most part, Kalen DeBoer, he's a fiery coach at practice. There's no difference. He's not wearing a straw hat like Nick Saban did, but they tell me that there's no difference there.
But, the last couple of years, Matt, and you could kind of see some cracks in this Alabama foundation because there were certain games that they just did not look. I mean, you had dumb penalties. You had all these unforced errors that just was not part of the Alabama DNA for many years under Nick Saban. And the last couple of years before he retired, those things started bubbling up. And it was very difficult for Nick to kind of get a grasp and try to get the attention of these players to kind of firm things up. Well, that's kind of bled over to Kalen DeBoer. The number of penalties that you have, the stupid penalties you had, especially against Tennessee and Vanderbilt, came back to haunt them. That's the areas of the football team that has kind of bled over from Nick Saban. So the biggest difference probably you haven't seen in about 5 or 6 years because that was really the last time that Alabama was playing the Nick Saban-like offense and defense that we so got accustomed to.
Let's focus on the defensive side. Pat Smith's our guest, WJOX there in Birmingham, on Twitter at Pat Smith Radio. Y'all give him a follow. I've talked a lot this week about the run defense. Odd to say this, Pat. Statistically, Alabama will be the worst run defense LSU will have played this year. What's going on there that has caused Alabama to maybe struggle at times this year against the run?
Well, one thing's for sure. Going into the season, coming out of fall camp, the biggest worry was going to be the secondary. And then all of a sudden you look up, and Alabama's number 2 in the SEC with 11 interceptions. I mean, they have been on fire the last few games, defensively speaking, from the secondary standpoint. But the running attack, teams have been able to run between the tackles, and that's always been an area that Alabama's been able to stop. Is this going to be the rush defense that you had against Georgia? Georgia had 80 yards rushing, and you saw the outcome of the game. But then you go to Tennessee, you give up over 200. You give up 160-something to Vanderbilt, another 130 to South Carolina. That's the one thing that's really freaked people out down here is because even when Kirby was the defensive coordinator, then obviously, Nick ran through a bunch of DCs, but you knew it was Nick's defense. They could stop the run. You might have problems on the back end, but for the most part, they just don't have those playmakers. I mean, the number one guy in the trenches is LT Overton, who is a transfer portal guy. He came from Texas A&M. And the recruiting gurus in our state will tell you that is one area, even the last couple of years under Nick Saban, they were not able to recruit at the level that they wanted to. And not to mention the fact when you lose a guy like Dallas Turner and obviously Anderson, who's now with the Texans, you lose those guys. Those are generational type talent, but they just have not been able to fill those holes for those really big playmakers, those disruptors on the defensive front.
Do you think on the back end they can hang with LSU's receivers and Nussmeier and all those guys slinging it around? Because LSU struggled to run it, but the one thing they've done really well this year is throw it.
And that's going to be tough. And the reason why is we go back just a couple of years ago when Bryce Young was the quarterback at Alabama. I mean, look who ultimately did Alabama in. It was Taylor. And that's, I've heard his name mentioned a lot this week from people in Tuscaloosa. That is the person, The other wideouts are a huge concern for Alabama, but it's that tight end position. Are the linebackers going to be able to play good enough and to be able to stop that? So they believe that they got a good plan coming into the game on Saturday night. Now, listen, it goes without saying that if you can disrupt Garrett Nussmeier, what you saw, obviously, the second half against Texas A&M, then they like their chances better. But if LSU finds a running game and you can't stop them or get off the field on third down, this is going to be a very long night for Alabama.
Pat, I think we are in for an offensive football game. I think both defenses are going to struggle a bit. So let's flip it, and I want to ask you about Jalen Milroe. I asked Brian Kelly earlier this week what differences he's noticed and what Tommy Rees asked Jalen Milroe to do a year ago and what Kalen DeBoer is asking Jalen Milroe to do now. When you watch Milroe year to year, what do you see as far as a progression as a player?
Well, I see this. I see a guy that is really torn on what he wants to be as a quarterback. Does he want to be a dual threat? For a long time last year, until the LSU game when he went off for what he did numbers-wise, he wanted to be a pocket passer. And just almost like Jalen Hurts was in Tuscaloosa. I mean, that was always the rub. Jalen, towards the back end of his Alabama career, he wanted to, I'm talking about Hurts, sure. He wanted to be a pocket passer, whereas, Nick knew that, I just don't want to give it all in and let him, be a dual threat and run the ball and throw it. Well, Jalen Milroe's been kind of the same way. He's kind of been like, I don't want to do all that running, to the point to where a couple weeks ago, you had people calling our radio station going, hey, Milroe's got to be hurt. Like, since the Georgia game, he just looks different. He's just not running with authority. I mean, he's not getting to the edge. He's not doing those type things. So it's a very long answer to your question, Matt. But for me, I'm seeing a quarterback that is still kind of torn, and I think Nick Sheridan, who's the offensive coordinator at Alabama, he's also torn what you want to do. He's thrown 3 touchdown passes and 5 interceptions in the last 4 games and only has 100 yards rushing. For Alabama to be successful Saturday night, he has got to have the type of game that he had against Georgia. If not, the Bama run game has been a problem with the other 2 guys. It might be just a tough night for Bama to try to move the ball that way. It would have to be with his arm.
Pat, where do you see look, there's playmakers still in the – everybody's talking about Ryan Williams, and Milroe's obviously very capable, and Jam Miller. I mean, there's athletes there. Where is there a weakness on Alabama's offense?
To me, it's crazy for me to say this, Matt, but it's the quarterback. And it goes back to what I just said a few moments ago in regards to him trying to figure out what he wants to be and what this offense needs him to be. I mean, I've had people tell me that obviously the quarterback that's on that in that quarterback room is Austin Mack. He is the transfer from Washington. He's a true freshman. He's a guy that committed to Washington, signed at Washington, and then he ultimately followed to Tuscaloosa. He's still a couple years away, but that's the kind of offense that I think that they want to run. I think Jalen Milroe right now, they're really struggling to try to figure out what he wants to do. And I know it's crazy for me to say that's kind of the weakness there, because until you decide you're all in on one way or another and not just play every other week, it's kind of helter-skelter. I think that's the problem with this offense right now. It's very disjointed. Do you want to run it? Do you want to be a pocket passer? It hasn't been since the Georgia game that they've had a good mix of both to be able to do that.
Pat Smith is our guest, WJOX in Birmingham. Hey, Pat, what do you think is – I mean, I don't know. I think this will be a close game. I mean, it should be. You got pretty evenly matched teams. What do you think ultimately tilts the balance one way or another in this game?
I think it'll be third downs. I really do. Bama has had a huge problem this year, Matt, just huge problem getting off the field when they needed to get off the field. And seeing what Nussmeier did against Ole Miss and against Pete Golding, that defense, that scares the heck out of Alabama, because they just have not been able to get off the field on third down when it really mattered. Yeah, they shut out Tennessee in the first half, just like everybody else has lately there against the Vols. But in the second half, when they had to have those third down stops, they just did not get it. And that comes back to, if it's a short third down situation, can LSU have a running game to run between the tackles that teams have had success? And if Nussmeier gets hot, like he did on those final drives and then overtime against Ole Miss, then all of a sudden that is going to be very problematic for Alabama.
Hey, if LSU wins and Bama gets hung a third loss, how do you think, last thing, how do you think that is received, the temperature there around the program?
People will lose their mind. Absolutely. I mean, listen, the type of things that was being discussed after the Vanderbilt loss and then the Tennessee loss, it was ridiculous. I mean, it took me back to the days of Dennis Franchione and Mike Shula, before Nick Saban got there. Just ridiculous stuff, like what the coach is wearing, what they're playing, the music they're playing at practice.
That shirt was a little small, Pat. That shirt was a little small.
I mean, let me say something. I mean, it's just crazy the type of. I mean, it literally took me back to 1997 with Paul Feinbaum and listening to Alabama people on a Monday. It's just everyone forgets before Nick Saban what it was like. And a lot of these Alabama fans, the old guard, they are very concerned of going back to football team that's going to lose 3 to 4 ball games every year. Unlike the situation down at Auburn, which is an absolute you-know-what show. Yeah. But besides that, Alabama is just trying to hold on and try to get, at least in year one, to the CFP.
He is Pat Smith, WJOX there in Birmingham, at Pat Smith Radio. Y'all give him a follow there on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it now. Hey, Pat, we always appreciate the time, man. It's great to chat as always. We'll visit soon, okay?
Hey, thanks, brother. Talk soon.
All right, man. Be well. Enjoy the game. It's Pat Smith. It's After Further Review, brought to you by our friends over at the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. That's WilliamsonEye.com. You want to see 2020? Call 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center. I told you this story. We were at with some friends this past Saturday. One of the ladies who was visiting with us, one of our friends, said she'd gone for a LASIK consultation years ago because of her prescription, some things with her eyes. She's not a candidate for LASIK, so she wears contacts, but would love to get rid of them. I said, you need to go see Dr. Blake Williamson because they have a new procedure called the EVO ICL. It's an implantable contact lens. It's an alternative to LASIK. I think so much of this is just knowing what options are out there. It's the Williamson Eye Center. If you want to ditch those contacts and glasses forever, just go for a consultation with Dr. Blake Williamson. 924-2020, 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. All right, Lee Sterling in 15 minutes. We get Lee's best bets for the football weekend, including a pick on LSU-Bama. When we come back, Muse, Paulie, and I'll give you three things. It's our what to watch this football weekend on AFR.
After further review.
I tell you about the beautiful work that Derek Duplessis does over at Duplessis Builders, but another reason to do business with Duplessis is because they're great people. This 5-star Google review came in, and it said, on the morning after Hurricane Francine in Prairieville, we awoke many families down trees, branches across the property. Daughter and her family lives next door facing the same scenario. They just gathered family chainsaws. Much needed blessing in the form of Duplessis Builders. Work crew showed up, saw the cleanup job we were facing. They immediately gathered more chainsaws, heavy equipment, jumped right in, took over the operation, got everything cleared up. They apologized, didn't get any of the crew's names, but so when they were done, we offered them money. They refused every bit of it. They were out there just to be good Samaritans, helping out as much as they can. Y'all, that's another reason why I love telling you about Duplessis Builders. And Derek doesn't know that I'm reading this Google review here today. It has nothing to do with building a pool. It's just good people. And oh, by the way, he happens to be an exceptional pool builder. It's DuplessisBuilders.net.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at DecisionCriticalBR.com.
Rolling along, hour number 2. DecisionCriticalBR.com, concierge nursing service. Y'all check it out. LSU-Bama this week. Actually, after last week we did the IV thing in studio. I was talking to Blasia, the owner of Decision Critical. She said there was a guy who called and booked IVs for their whole tailgate crew before the LSU-Alabama. It's actually a pretty heady play.
That is strong, man.
It's a heady play, man. It's a really heady play. So they'll be out there giving IVs for the tailgate crew. I mean, hey, it's going to be a long day.
It is.
Get yourself hydrated. Get you an IV from Decision Critical. Get on by or call them to come to your office. DecisionCriticalBR.com. All right, every week, Muse, Paulie, and I tell you 3 things to keep an eye on during the football weekend. We call it What to Watch. Here we go. Let's do it.
Here's what we're watching this football weekend.
All right, I'll go ahead and get us started. We'll start in the college ranks. South Carolina, obviously coming off huge win over Texas A&M, stormed the field, all those things. Have to go to Nashville, and Nashville's been a bit of a house of horrors for the letdown spot this year. Obviously, everybody knows about Alabama, but don't forget, Texas went in there after the game against Georgia. Big-time atmosphere, all that. They go in, squeak the win out. South Carolina, 4.5-point favorite. Vandy's got 1 outright win and a 3-point loss in that type of matchup.
Who do you like?
I like South Carolina.
Okay. Going Vandy.
Vandy covers.
Field, storm, fade, brother.
Vandy covers.
Field, storm, fade, outright winner, Vandy. Paulie.
All right, so we've mentioned them a few times in this segment, but I'm going back to Indiana. They face Michigan this weekend. They may be the biggest Cinderella story in college football. Michigan struggled since their national championship last season. Indiana, 9-0 for the first time in school history, 1 win away from producing the school's first 10-win season. The Wolverines have won 27 of the last 28 games in this series. Hoosiers look to keep pace with Oregon in the Big Ten.
So what's going on in Dallas, don't you?
Not very good football, if that's what you're talking about, Matt.
I'm talking about the injured starting quarterback there, Dak Prescott. Saw that?
I did see that.
So he's not going to play this weekend.
No, he's not.
So you know what that means, don't you?
What does that mean, Matt?
It means it's time for our guy, Cooper Rush. It's Cooper Rush season, ladies and gentlemen. As we've said for quite a while here, big Cooper Rush show. Been a fan really since the day he was born in Charlotte, Michigan.
Nope.
Back November the 21st of 1993. I was there, actually, as a matter of
fact.
fact.
You were not there.
I was one of the first calls that the Rush family made.
What are you talking
to
about?
Let us know that Coop had entered the world. That's what we call him. We call him Coop. Those of us who know him best. Coop. And I'll tell you, while he's been a great team player, Muse. He has bided his time, sit behind that bum Dak Prescott when the real starter, Cooper Rush, has been sitting there on the sideline waiting his turn. Cooper Robert Rush. It's his turn now, Muse. It is his turn.
Anybody can Google the man's middle name.
You know what? But when you know him, you don't need to Google it.
But
Muse.
you don't know him.
Muse, I'll tell you this much. For the first time ever, I have a feeling of a kinship with Jameis One of One guy.
Oh, no.
As absurd as he is.
That guy's out there.
The truth is, Cooper Rush is actually great. All from his days at Lansing Catholic up to Central Michigan. Cowboys, the Giants, back with Dallas now, and he's finally got his turn to shine. Not looking over his shoulder at that bum Prescott. It's Cooper Rush season. We're proud of you, Coop. That's what those of us who know him best call him.
Okay, anyway. The Broncos, they're coming off of getting destroyed by the Ravens. Now they have to go to Arrowhead. First of all, there cannot be a more brutal back-to-back road stretch in the NFL than at Baltimore, at Kansas City. That's rough. Secondly, though, Patrick Mahomes, of course, injured the ankle, right, on Monday Night Football. Short week. They are at home. Mahomes says he's good, won't be limited, and will play. I'm kind of just interested to see if the Broncos can even keep it close. It's an 8-point spread.
Steelers, Commanders. Both teams riding a 3-game win streak. Russell Wilson has looked good since he's come back from injury, and we all know what Jaden Daniels is doing in his rookie season. Can the Commanders keep this momentum going? And like you mentioned earlier, will Marshawn Lattimore make his Commanders debut?
Georgia, Ole Miss, a loss for Ole Miss would be their third. They'd be out like the fat kid in dodgeball. Georgia looking to keep its playoff hopes rolling there to get the SEC championship game. Really curious what Georgia shows up. Is it the one that suffocated Clemson? Is it the one that suffocated Texas? They suffocated Alabama in the second half. Is it the team that elevates against a really good team, or is it one that plays with its food? If Georgia shows up, they should pound Ole Miss. Then again, Ole Miss looked like themselves last week offensively, albeit against Arkansas. Likely no Trey Harris this weekend. I think that's a huge loss for Ole Miss. I think Georgia wins and wins big, but let's see which Georgia shows up in Oxford.
Another spot in college football. This one, a look-ahead spot. Speaking of Georgia, Tennessee's got them next week. They welcome in Mississippi State, who is the worst team in the SEC. But I will remind you, State went to Austin earlier when the Longhorns were in a look-ahead spot, kept it close and covered. And they do the same against Tennessee.
Lions-Texans Sunday Night Football. Lions, one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now. They're on a 6-game win streak. They can beat you anyway with their playmakers. The Texans, they've lost 2 of the last 3, but are still one of the better teams in the AFC. Both teams do lead their division. The Texans are without Stephon Diggs.
How about Coach Prime? Got them bowl eligible.
Yep.
And by the way, they're still in line potentially to make the Big 12 championship game. They got to go to Texas Tech. Texas Tech won last week, ended Iowa State's undefeated season. 5 of Texas Tech's 6 conference games have been decided by a single score. You'd expect a close game here. Let's see if Colorado, 3.5-point road favorite, can get the 7 wins on the road in Lubbock, keep their Big 12 championship and playoff championship hopes alive. There you have it. It's What to Watch. We're brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Locations all over South Louisiana. Find the location nearest you at ShawBillsTire.com. ShawBillsTire.com. Need that oil change, tire rotation, alignment, brakes are squeaking. They can help you with anything you got going on with your vehicle. And most importantly, they'll sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices, and they'll keep you coming back year after year after year because it's Shaw Bills. They treat you like family. It's Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. Okay, we'll knock out our final break here of hour number 2. When we come back, Lee Sterling will be here, Paramount Sports. Lee will give us his picks on the biggest games of the college and NFL weekend, including LSU-Bama. So, professional handicapper Lee Sterling aboard next. It's AFR.
AFR.
How about Rouse's? Slinging turkeys for free. You heard me correct. Rouse's is out here slinging turkeys for free. You want to take care of your Thanksgiving dinner turkey for free? They'll help you do it over at Rouse's. What's the catch, Matt? No catch, but here's the conditions. You can get a Butterball Thanksgiving turkey for free at Rouse's when you buy a Hormel Cure 81 spiral sliced ham for just $2.99 a pound. And you'll get a Butterball Grade A frozen turkey up to 14 pounds for free. That's right. Buy a Hormel Cure 81 spiral sliced ham and get a free Butterball Grade A frozen turkey for your Thanksgiving dinner. Limit 1 per customer with a $25 in-store purchase. You can visit Rouses.com for more details. It's Rouses, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouses.com. Rouses. This feels like home.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you in a new 2024 Ram 1500 truck for only $32,898. $32,898 for a new Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Place your bets, gentlemen.
It's time to head to the window.
Don't gamble it all in one place.
This is Lee Sterling's Best Bets, brought to you by Paramount Sports.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. Lee joins us now, ParamountSports.com. Lee, how are you?
I'm good. Hope the weather is clear for you guys on Saturday night.
Yeah, man.
Looking for another instant classic.
I think it was a snap hook of a storm heading straight over to Mexico. So Saturday should be nice come 6:30 for kickoff. We'll get to LSU-Alabama. Let's start with another game involving a Louisiana team. Tulane, big favorite against Temple. Boy, if they hadn't blown it against Kansas State, Lee, my goodness, they'd probably be in the playoff conversation. What do you think about Tulane, big favorite there against Temple?
American Conference's worst rushing offense, Temple, visits number 3 rushing offense in the conference behind Army and Navy. Tulane is balanced. Its offense, 65% completions at 8.8 yards per attempt. Temple has some pretty good pass defensive numbers, but the reason that is people just run on Temple. I mean, the average team runs about 42 times for 211 yards. If you didn't know better, and maybe you don't, you'd think that Temple was throwing road games also. 4-15 against the spread as a road underdog since the beginning of 2021. And what are they during that time? Straight up a big donut. 0-19, by the way. But that pretty much goes without saying. Tulane, 47-17.
Laying the 26. Big number there with the green wave. I am fascinated, by the way, Lee, with South Carolina Vanderbilt. It seems like I just keep cashing tickets on Vanderbilt all season because people just don't seem to catch up. Well, here they are, home underdog again. South Carolina's proven, man, they've gotten better. They're a good team. I always have, Lee, I hold dearly the field storm fade. Storm the field, next week, fade them. So I'd go Vanderbilt here, but Carolina's a road favorite. What do you think?
I was thinking about the same thing. It's funny you said that. That's kind of been South Carolina's, MO the last couple of years. And whenever they win a big game, and then it's just been disaster the next week. Vanderbilt is strange. You'd think, okay, 6-2 team. They achieved bowl eligibility probably this early in a long, long time, and they're going to not be up for the game. But remember, they've lost 15 straight time to the Gamecocks. So I think their coaching staff will have them sky high. They're 6-0 against the spread as an underdog this year, and I think they have the better quarterback, Diego Pavia. I mean, this team really believes in him. This kid can make plays. I think he could make it in the CFL. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, nothing would shock me. I mean, would it shock you if he caught on to an NFL roster and was a practice squad guy or a backup player? I mean, he's incredible.
Yeah, I just don't think he has I don't think he has the arm.
Okay.
So you have to have you have to be able to throw that from one hash, throw the deep out or the comeback in. I don't know if he can do it on that level. That's the only reason. But talk about a team believing in him. He's the guy. Sellers just has some good games and some horrible games. I thought the play calling last week for South Carolina was incredible. I don't think they can match it. Wrong team favored Vanderbilt. Straight up 26-23.
Lee Sterling, ParamountSports.com. Get him on Twitter, X, @Lee Sterling. Also, this is one of those, the Georgia-Ole Miss game is massive. Of course, Ole Miss loses. It's their third loss. They're out of playoff contention. Georgia just kind of plays with its food, Lee. They're such a tough team to figure out as a result. Here they are. They're on the road. 2.5, I guess, is the number, depending on where you shop. The question really is, what Georgia team shows up? What do you think?
Same with Carson Beck. I mean,
yeah.
He was no question about it, a top 10 pick going into the year. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
And where would you put him now if you had a best guess?
We're having that conversation a lot around the Saints because the Saints are going to be in probably position to draft a quarterback. I don't want him to touch Carson Beck. He's a turnover machine.
Yeah. I don't think he goes in the first round.
I agree.
I think he's maybe early second now at best. Do you agree?
Sure. I look at last year. You had 6 go in the first round. The next highest quarterback was Spencer Rattler around 5 when the Saints took him. So you have a big gap between the ones that are going to take quarterbacks at the top of the draft and who doesn't need a quarterback.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. He probably would go in the first round, probably 20, 24, 25 for someone. Just even if they had to stash him for a year or two and try. You know what? I think he's distracted. He's dating one of the Cavender twins here in Miami.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got to be honest.
Good for him.
If I was dating a Cavender twin, I was in college, and I had a Lambo, I was scooting around, town in, I'd probably be distracted too.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: Georgia shows up when teams, on their radar. Everyone's talking. This is like the upset or a team that's going to take them, and they did it against Texas. Ole Miss, they're pretty much the Penn State of the SEC. Can't win a big game. They're 1-11 straight up in the series, 4-8 against the spread. They're going to be without Henry Parrish, their best running back, and Trey Harris may not be able to go either. I just can't trust Lane Kiffin in a big game. Georgia, 31-23.
I agree with you. Lee Sterling's with us, Paramount Sports. Let me get a thought on the NFL game with Washington and Pittsburgh. Man, Jaden Daniels, God, he's so good, just chugging along here. But how about the season Pittsburgh's having there, maybe against all odds? Washington a favorite there against the Steelers.
Okay, so here's one of the rules I have when handicapping the NFL. After a couple of years, I just didn't go against great quarterbacks, guys like Tom Brady. You do that in the long run, you're going to pay the price. You either back them or stay off the game. Jaden Daniels is going to be that kind of kid. I mean, he's that good. He's not only up for Rookie of the Year. I can make a case for him winning the MVP. He is that good. Has meant that much to his team. But I think Pittsburgh's a better all-around team, much better defense, and Mike Tomlin, 12-4 off of a bye, 6 straight wins following a week's rest. I just don't think the run defense for Washington, which is ranked 29th, going to be able to handle the Steelers, which are a heavily ground-oriented team. And then the play action after that with Russell Wilson, who's had a quarterback rating of 114 and 109 the 2 games he's played in. I like Pittsburgh. They pull away late, 34-23.
By the way, Jaden Daniels, 5th best MVP odds as of right now. So you're on it. I mean, it ain't just Rookie of the Year.
And who's ahead of him? Got to be Lamar Jackson.
Lamar's 1, Josh Allen, Mahomes, and then Goff. And then Jaden.
So Mahomes and Goff for 3 and 4, correct?
Correct.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Hey, before we get to LSU-Bama, free play this week is Saints and Falcons. How do people get it?
So this is what I'm going to do. We are not going to discuss a Saints game until they win a game.
Okay.
They win a game, they'll make the top 5. I just think, is that fair?
Sure. I don't want to discuss the Saints either.
But if they want to get it for free, I do have, I think, the right side on this game. 800-400-9741. First 5 callers get it for free.
All right. Give me the number one more time. 800?
400.
9741. 9741. 800. 400-9741. All right, LSU-Bama, the big one in college football, night game in Death Valley. Which way are we going?
I think it's an elimination game. You have 3 losses. You're probably out. It was an instant classic 2 years ago. LSU is really good at home. 13 straight games at night. I think Kalen DeVere, I just really don't think he fully understood what he was getting into. Having been in the Pac-12, the only real tough road game was probably Oregon. Now he's been at Tennessee, and I thought his team looked like a deer in headlights for most of the game. Now they're without Cole Adams. They're playing in a tougher place for this game. Unless Jalen Milroe is really on the money. We know what he does running, but throwing the football, seems like more times than not this year he hasn't been. I like LSU here. Wrong team favored. LSU 28-24.
28-24 Tigers, from your lips to God's ears. He is Lee Sterling at Paramount Sports, ParamountSports.com. Or if you want the free play, call 800-400-9741, 800-400-9741. Thank you, Lee. We'll do it next week.
Sounds good. Take care.
Be well. We're brought to you by Relief Windows, ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank vinyl siding. Oh, yeah, they do shutters as well. They're just the best. Tell you every day. Look, you're just getting quotes to get the lowest price. That'll never be Relief Windows. But if you want the best customer service experience, a premium product, service after the sale, a lifetime transferable warranty, there is only one call. It's to Relief Windows. ReliefWindows.com. ReliefWindows.com. Okay, y'all. Mike Triplett in 20 minutes from right now. Here comes SportsCenter. When we come back, speaking of mock draft, interesting mock draft. Where's Nuss? I'll tell you next. AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Optimize. Hey, listen, it's November, and there's a storm in the Gulf. Now, thankfully, that thing snap hooked to the west. Now, God bless our friends in Mexico, and hopefully everybody's safe. But when you live in Louisiana and along the Gulf Coast, we all know it's not a matter of if, it's when a storm hits. It's not a matter of if, it's when the power will go out. You want to be prepared for the when. Optimize can help you do it. You might say, Matt, I can't afford a generator. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Because at Optimize, they have three big differentiators. One is turnkey installation. They take care of everything. They talk to the power company. They do everything. They get the permitting, all of it. Number two is the price quote guarantee. The price they quote you is it. No more extra fees. They're not going to surprise you with anything. And number three, the low down payment. $600, and they have financing for any budget, so you stay in control of your financings. It's Optimize. GeneratorPeople.com. GeneratorPeople.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
It's an everyday thing here. We work horses in the mornings and we work on the property during the day, and without these John Deere tractors, it'd almost be impossible to keep up with the place. I've dealt with some of the other colors and stuff, and I never really got the response back that I get from John Deere, We really enjoy dealing with Sunshine. They're good people. They always check on us and make sure our equipment's running, and we love them. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. An AFC North matchup tonight to kick off NFL Week 10. The Ravens hosting the Bengals. ESPN's Dan Orlovsky.
It's a much bigger game for the Bengals, right? Because they're behind the 8 ball when it comes to wins and losses.
Yes.
It's also a big game for Baltimore defensively. Baltimore is unbelievably explosive offensively. It's hard for me to sit there and say that they're in that top 2 or 3 group when I've watched this defense this year.
Dan Orlovsky on Get Up. Ravens running back Keaton Mitchell comes off the PUP list for tonight's game. He hasn't played since a torn left ACL last December. Bears nose tackle Andrew Billings goes on IR today after surgery for a torn pectoral muscle. He'll miss the rest of the season. Panthers running back Chuba Hubbard will sign a 4-year extension with the team. ESPN's David Newton reports it's worth $33 million. Dodgers lefty Clayton Kershaw had left knee and left foot surgeries today. He plans to come back next year for his 18th big league season.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career you'll love with flexibility, great pay and benefits, and one of the country's top workplaces? Come join their growing team. Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's rock! Go!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing Service in Baton Rouge. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Toby Tomplake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Mike Triplett will be here in about 13 minutes from right now. We'll get to Thursday night football preview as well. Joey B and the Bengals try to keep it going against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. A lot to get to. LSU. That's a tiger roaring on my phone. I guess I can share this. So anyway, very quickly, for those who haven't heard yet, I'm assuming by now most people have. Earlier today, we at LouisianaSports.net broke this story that the governor of Louisiana was kind of put onto this last night, and Hunt and I did a lot of vetting today and found, sure enough, this is happening. That there's going to be a faux mic in Tiger Stadium. There's going to be, what did you say, Muse? The stunt double.
Yeah, the stunt double.
Yeah, Mike the Tiger stunt double is going to be in Tiger Stadium. Told you in hour 1, the Tiger's name is Omar. He's coming from a big cat sanctuary out of state. And they're going to put him in the cage. And as a matter of fact, they've refurbished Mike's cage, the trailer cage that they pull around the stadium. The little panel at the bottom where it said Mike the 6th prior, they've covered that up, so it's just gold now. They've added some plexiglass, I guess. Is that what you call it? it's just the bars around the cage. They've added another layer of protection as well onto the cage. So anyway, yeah, they're going to have Omar the Tiger. They're going to roll him around the cage, around the field in the cage before the game against Alabama. Just to update this story, there are a few things that we can update now. I did get a letter from PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. Let me read this for you. Oh, of course. Now I'm trying to find it. I can't. My apologies. Here it is. PETA Foundation Associate Director of Captive Wildlife Research, Clayton Rutherford, in a response to our report at LouisianaSports.net, quote, "It's shameful and out of touch with today's respect for wild species that LSU has bowed to Governor Landry's campaign to display a live tiger at its football game to amuse the fans. LSU rightly ended this idiotic, archaic practice nearly a decade ago after recognizing that it was cruel to subject a sensitive big cat to the noise, lights, and crowds in a football stadium. Whether the tiger is confined on campus or shipped in from elsewhere, no reputable facility would subject a tiger to such chaos and stress, and PETA and the nearly 50,000 of its supporters have already called on Landry to let up and leave big cats alone, are now urging LSU to grow a spine and just say no." So that's the official statement from PETA, the People for Ethical Treatment of Animals. And then to show you and just to illustrate that there's hardly a consensus here, and honestly that this is not something that LSU is totally or in any way on board with. The Mike the Tiger Twitter account, the official Mike the Tiger Twitter account, just a bit ago, tweeted a photo of Mike the Tiger in his habitat with the caption, "Tiger stripes are unique, like fingerprints. So you can tell the difference between different tigers." Little subtweet there. Is that what that was?
That's a subtweet. Yeah, that's exactly what that is.
Little subtweet.
Pretty good one, too, to be honest with you.
Really good one. A couple of things. Number one, so 10 years ago, when they ended this practice of having Mike in the cage and paraded around Tiger Stadium, at the time, Carly, our dear friend, the late Carly McCord, Carly and I, when we were credentialed for the games, and we would do on-field pre- and post-game videos that are still on YouTube, by the way. You can find this if you want on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube. Now, you have to go back 9 years. But whenever there was a time where they were having trouble coaxing Mike into the cage, which is why this stopped. They were having, sometimes he would and sometimes he wouldn't get into the trailer. And they weren't going to force him in. When he would go willingly, they'd take him, and when he wouldn't, they wouldn't. And so it became this thing. And so I did this, you can call it a bit, call it whatever. And there's a video where I'm crushing the tiger for not getting in the cage, and my whole thing is, you live a great life. All we're asking is 7 days out of the year. You get in the cage, you take one lap, you go back to your habitat. That's it. You get all this great health care, and you get great diet. You don't have to worry about other predators, and you got a pool, and it's a great life. And it's a bit tongue-in-cheek the way I did it, but I don't have a problem under the right circumstances having Mike the Tiger part of that tradition where he comes into Tiger Stadium. I have no problem with that. Just like Texas gives Bevo a sedative and has their giant steer there. Just like Colorado has Ralphie the Buffalo who does a lap, and like Auburn has their eagle, which is named Tiger, do the lap around Jordan-Hare and then land. I mean, there's a long tradition of animals live animals that serve as mascots, and they're an awesome part of the tradition and history of these universities, our athletic departments. And the Mike the Tiger tradition is awesome as well, and people revere Mike the Tiger. So he gets millions of visitors to his habitat. LSU and supporters, benefactors have invested tremendously into Mike's habitat and healthcare, and not only that, but it's also it's an awesome experience for people to go love and appreciate the size, the scale, the mat of a big cat like that. There's so many things to love about the Mike the Tiger tradition, and I do love bringing Mike onto the field before the game. So I don't have I'm not like this hard and fast, force that tiger in the cage. And I'm not hard and fast like, don't you ever do it, it's cruel, and they're going to be all upset. I'm probably somewhere in between on that. But what I will say is, for how many years did the Mike tradition happen of bringing the tiger into the stadium? All them Mikes live long, good lives, man. Like Mike V, LSU got him in 1989 or 1990 when he was a Tiger Cub, and man, he lived until 2007. Make sure I'm right on that. I think Mike V, I think his reign was from 1990 to 2007, if I'm not mistaken on that. That's a long life for a Tiger. And he lived a great life. And he always went in the stadium and they wheeled him around. It was okay. Now, maybe part of that is because you got him as a Tiger Cub and he was used to it. Maybe that's something that has to happen for the next Mike. When Mike VII dies and they go on to Mike, that was right?
Yes, 1990 to 2007.
90 to 07. He died in November. Or no, it was May. It was May of 07. Anyway, and then they got Roscoe. And Roscoe's first season was the national championship season in 07.
It was.
Shout out Roscoe. Rip to Roscoe, a.k.a. Mike VI. All that to say, get a Tiger Cub. You acclimate him at a young age into doing that, and it's far less consequential. I think they should do it, provided you have the right circumstances. If it doesn't work, I think Tiger Stadium's still going to be awesome. This feels, admittedly, a little wonky. You're getting Omar the Tiger from Florida. But if this is what it takes to to resume the practice or show that it can be done, okay, but I'm not going to be hard and fast to it. What I was showing you was, or what I was watching as we started this was, I don't think he would mind me saying this publicly because he just sent me this note. Rolf McCollister is the publisher of the Baton Rouge Business Report, sent a note. He said, Matt, I guess you read the Advocate story on the Tiger expected in the stadium Saturday. No, Rolf. I helped write the story that broke it at Louisiana Sports. We did break the story, but Rolf's great. I'm just teasing him. But what he did apparently was, this looks like CGI. Or maybe it's like a hologram, but it's Mike inside. It's like a giant Mike hologram in Tiger Stadium. I'm trying to pull this up so you could see it, and I'll give credit to Barry and Fitz Kern, who brainstormed the idea, and they call it Bionic Mike, or Mardi Gras Mike is what he called it. I'll show you this video really quickly if this allows me to pull up. I think it will, Paulie, and I think you could probably take my screen if, in fact, this works. There it is. Can you see this? Paulie, can you see this? Okay, yeah, pull it up. Okay, there you go. So, Muse, you can walk this through. It looks like there's a platform near the end zone, and this giant, I don't know if it's a hologram, if it's a paper mache tiger, or what it is. Or maybe it's an it's an electric tiger is what it kind of looks like. It kind of stands and it roars and moves its head, almost like, you ever go to a dinosaur exhibit?
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
It almost looks like that, like a dinosaur exhibit. And it roars and all that stuff. I don't know that this is the best option either, but it's something that obviously has been presented and could be considered. But if nothing else, what the governor's decision here has moved us toward is the conversation again, which, quite honestly, hasn't been had for a decade. So I guess now we're having it. And Saturday, shout out to Omar. Let's all welcome Omar to Tiger Stadium, okay? He's like, Omar's coming in. He going to ride around. Omar is a Tiger through and through. All right? He's cheering for the Tigers. He's there to add game day ambiance for the Tigers. So don't be mean about Omar. Shout out Omar.
How long before somebody spells it EAUXMAR?
Oh, you just did it. Get Michelle Southern, print the shirts. 929misfits.com.
I need credit for that one.
Well, you better get a design then.
I mean, not full credit, but it was my idea.
Well, get a design.
Or Gomar the Tiger.
Or guess what? You just got your idea stolen.
That's kind of rude.
Somebody's going to print the idea. Somebody's going to print the shirt.
That's true.
Doesn't matter if it's your idea. It's all about execution. Everybody's got ideas, Muse. The ideas are like a-holes.
Yeah, everybody's got one. Yeah.
I got them. Opinions. They say opinions. But ideas, I don't care about your idea. I care about your execution.
Yeah.
Omar. EAUX.
I mean, someone's got.
How about the stupid shirts when it, like people did the Coach O shirts, but it was like O-E-A-U-X. It's like, no, that's O-O. That's what that is. You just take the O off. It's just E-A-U-X.
Exactly.
Yeah. I like the Omar idea. Give me a picture of Omar on Saturday. I'm going to make an Omar shirt. Omar the Tiger. Shout out. All right, Mike Triplett next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Don Moore, Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Y'all, there ain't another garden center within a 5-mile radius of that Clegg's on LA 16 in Denham. If you're in Denham, you know exactly where it is. Buy local, shop local. Hey, deer hunters, they got Mobucks, they got buck busters, they got deer corn, they got rice bran, everything you need for those plots for deer hunting season. Get it over at any of the 4 Clegg's Nursery locations. And also, y'all, Saturday, remember, new hours, by the way, with it getting darker earlier during the week. They're closing at 5. But Saturday, night game for LSU. Get up early, get to Clegg's, maybe get some of those beautiful fall flowers, bedding plants, add that pop of color to your flower bed, your patio pots, maybe some of that fall decor for your front patio, back porch, in-home, your office, whatever it may be. They got it all at Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you to Clegg's Nursery.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Darin Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you in a new 2024 Ram 1500 truck for only $32,898. $32,898 for a new Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Mike! Yeah?
New Orleans Saints coverage with some Mad Libs mixed in.
Why don't you just go by Mike?
It's time to talk black and gold with Mike Triplett of New Orleans Football. Presented by Benny's Car Wash. Family owned and operated since 1951.
Mike, how are you?
do we even need to do this week? I'd say nothing's happened since the last time we talked.
Bro, I mean, you wanted to. And here's the challenging part about it.
Do we have an hour and 15? Who do we talk to?
Hey, if you want to do a couple of segments, we could stretch it a bit. But
no.
Here's the thing about weeks like this, Mike. It can be a short burn because if it goes very badly this weekend, then the discontentment resumes. But there's a lot of interest. Let me start with the game ends against Carolina. When were you aware that a change was going to be made?
I would say that I will give Nick Underhill credit. I'm not afraid to defer to him. His antenna was up pretty strongly within hours afterward, but not it's done, because it wasn't done. And there was always wiggle room for conversations to be had and minds to be changed. But it felt like there was a sentiment post-game.
What was your reaction when you learned they had made the decision to fire Dennis Allen?
By that time, I mean, I was prepared for it. I was expecting it. I had predicted the week before that one loss at Carolina wouldn't do it on its own. Derek Carr's first game back, rusty. I didn't think one loss alone would do it, and I looked at the schedule and I thought, there's 2 more home games. If the streak hits 9 before the bye week, that's what it would take to get a midseason firing done. But again, crediting Nick, I think he recognized that coming home might have been a factor. I don't know if it was. I've never heard anyone tell me that it was, but coming back home and hosting the Falcons with booze and negativity and disinterest and all of those things might have looked pretty daunting. So it's quite possible that timing played a role in it more than me looking at a bye week as timing that made sense. I mean, it was 7 straight losses, and it was a loss to the Panthers. I mean, it's not rocket science.
It had to happen. It was over. Now, the other big news, of course, was the decision to be sellers at the trade deadline, which the Saints very seldom are. They get a deal done for Marshawn Lattimore. What do you think about the deal that was consummated with Washington?
If you're gonna do it, if you're determined, or if you've decided that's something you're interested in doing and willing to do, I like the return. I sure think he was worth a 2nd-round pick. Frankly, I think if health was not an issue with him and inconsistency was not an issue with him, I think he's a 1st-round talent. I think he was playing like a 1st-round talent earlier this year, but that was going to be really hard to pull off. And so I think a 3rd and a 4th and a 5th for a 6th and all that together is a little closer to 2nd round. That's pretty good for an in-season trade for a guy who's on the injury report at the time the trade happened. I think that was the best case scenario. And I think one of the best things for the Saints, though, is, I mean, shoot, I would sell this as a great deal for the Commanders. If you are a young, up-and-coming team that's making a surprising playoff push this year, to get, an elite cornerback who you can also have for the next 2 years at $18 million and $18.5 million, I think that's great. But for the Saints, who we say, stop kicking the can down the road, the only way you can do that is stop spending money. And so they just got value for a guy that they will now not pay $18 million next year and $18.5 million the next year. We've been begging the Saints to stop spending money, and now they're stopping spending money on someone. So there is some value in that. It doesn't make them better, though.
He's at Mike Triplett, NewOrleans.football. Should they have done more at the deadline?
Not necessarily. I don't think you do it just to do it and get 6th round and 7th round picks and stuff like that. I mean, if they had other players that are not going to be a part of their future that would have fetched 3rd round picks, maybe even 4th round picks, I mean, you're not getting that for Cam Jordan. You're not getting that for Derek Carr. I don't know that you're getting that for Demario Davis. I'm not trading Chris Olave. There was some wondering if Carl Granderson calls might take place. I maybe would have done it for Chase Young. I'm assuming they didn't get a 4th round offer for Chase Young, or maybe they would have done that. you don't just have to give players away, because honestly, that actually strangleholds you a little bit. If you cut guys next year, you can cut them and make them a June 1st thing, split the money up. If you trade them, all their money hits your books next year. So you don't just give guys away. I think they should have been listening for good value for anyone else. But I understand why Lattimore, as a 28-year-old elite player, was the only one who brought back really good value on trade deadline day.
When you look at the remainder of the season now with an interim coach, you trade Marshawn Lattimore, you have a handful of season-ending injuries already. What do you look at as a purpose for the remainder of the season, which clearly won't be making the playoffs?
Well, this team is going to try to win every game for now. I just spoke with Mickey Loomis yesterday and have an interview up on the website that everyone can look at. They don't believe in tanking. He even very specifically said, even if you get the number one pick, the Carolina Panthers are fresh in his mind. And he said the best quarterback in our league got picked 10. And Kansas City wasn't tanking at the time. They traded up to get him. So it's at his core, he doesn't believe tanking is the solution. He doesn't believe it's good for a locker room if you're quitting and you're not giving your all and you're purposely losing games. This team is just not going to lose on purpose. They just are not. Now, if it's December and they're 4-11, could we talk about Spencer Rattler starting games? Of course that's in play. That's not in play right now. It's just not in play right now. They want to beat Atlanta and beat Cleveland and go into the bye week at 4-6 and say maybe, They want to be the Steve Wilkes Panthers who were, what did he go? 6-2 and they weren't eliminated till the last week of the season. That's what's going to happen. And you can make an argument for it as far as culture and philosophy. I mean, the players who are going to be on this team next year, you want them going into next year feeling good about themselves and being like, hey, how about the way we won 4 out of our last 6 games? Obviously, if you're a computer and you're looking at this with no emotion attached and with the highest draft pick possible.
Yeah.
I don't think teams in the NFL actually tank until they're like, all right, we're 2-13, let's lose the last 2 games. I don't think it really ever happens before that point.
Mike, what about the Jets a few years ago when it was the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes and they won in week 17, which ultimately gave Trevor to Jacksonville, and they ended up with Zach Wilson. So to your point, yes, teams aren't tanking. They're trying to win to the bitter end.
And look, Rizzi wants a head coaching job. And Mickey Loomis said, this is one thing he said in my interview with him yesterday. He said, every one of us is auditioning, and I like the list he put together. That Darin Rizzi is auditioning right now. Everyone's watching him. Are you head coaching material? Maybe not now, but Dan Campbell was an interim head coach for the Dolphins, and that's stuck on his resume because he did a good job, and he eventually became hired as a head coach. He said Joe Woods, he's going to be calling the defense now. This is on his resume. If he does a good job, maybe someone wants him as their defensive coordinator. He said young players on this team are auditioning to be starters next year. Old players on this team are auditioning to prove they still have something in the tank. Everyone in the building is motivated to win. And I get why we want them to have the number 1 pick in the draft as observers, why fans want it. But nobody wants to go out there and lose the next 7 too. They just don't.
Mike Triplett, NewOrleans.football. Our chats every Thursday here brought to you by Benny's Car Wash, Benny'sCarWash.com, Benny'sCarWash.com. Always encourage you, go buy the Unlimited Car Wash. Did this a couple of years ago. We started doing this with Mike, and it's one of the best. It's like $16. You get as many car washes in the month as you want. It's incredible. Go check it out, Benny'sCarWash.com. Okay, who should be the next coach?
All right, it's funny. 2 years ago when we were talking about Dennis Allen, should he be fired in his first year on the job, I said, okay, 3 people, God, I remember the stats. People wanted him fired 10 games in, the vitriol that he faced. But, and I was like, the only way I would consider firing him after 1 year is to bring in a brilliant offensive mind who can revive this offense. And I think I remember Shane Steichen being a guy I mentioned at the time. He was a hot young candidate at the time. I feel a little differently this time. Now I think I think this team needs whoever's going to build the culture, set the direction of the team, be a strong leader. Some of those guys are Bill Belichick and Pete Carroll, who are 72, 73 years old. So that feels so temporary, but I think you consider it. Mike Vrabel obviously comes to mind as someone who could be that kind of a culture leader. There's some guys who, if Mickey Loomis still believes in the fact that you can learn from your first mistakes on the job, Brian Flores, Vance Joseph, maybe they'll be like what Dan Quinn's doing in Washington, better the second time around. So I think all those guys stand out to me. Aaron Glenn is another one. He would be a first-time head coach, but he's coming from the strongest program in the league where they've built a great culture. You want to copy that. Obviously, I think Aaron Glenn would probably check a lot of boxes for them because they respect him. They're familiar with him. He came from here as a player and a coach. I don't know if you're removing yourself enough from Sean Payton if you do that, but anything you can glean from what the Lions are doing from right now. So I feel like all of that stands out to me more than, hey, Ben Johnson. A lot of people are mentioning Joe Brady, get the hot shot coordinator. That's not my gut right now. My gut is best leader of men, best culture builder. But it's all on the table. And you probably don't get first choice. You probably get third or fourth choice, to be honest.
That's a great point. We've talked about, like, how desirable is this job to be able to go attract the top candidate relative to what other jobs might be open.
I think I say third or fourth. I don't say last. The cap situation really is not as bad as everyone says it is. It's solving itself because they don't have any players to sign to $100 million deals right now. The only one was Chris Olave, and that comes into question for an unfortunate reason with his health. The cap's going to solve itself because they're not signing anyone to $100 million contracts anytime soon. Not on this roster anyway, and you're not going out in free agency and signing, some superstar because you're not one player away right now. So the cap will get cleaned up. They are going to have a nice draft pick this year. That's almost inevitable at this point. So, no, they're not the every head coach wants this job team. But, look, there's going to be 8 openings this year, and, they're going to get their third choice, or maybe they're going to get their first choice, depending on if they're not interested in Belichick and Vrabel and Ben Johnson. Like, somebody's coming. Nobody turns down these jobs unless you're completely dysfunctional. And they actually think some of the things that we hate about them are a selling point for a coach. They are not impatient. You're not getting fired after 1 year. You're not getting fired 10 games into your first year on the job here. You just aren't. And I think a coach might actually like that.
Okay, before you go, I guess out of obligation, Saints-Falcons, give me something to watch or care about Sunday.
Well, look, it's really funny because I think if you're a fan or if you just want this team to become more interesting, it's hard to want to see them win. But there's a big part of me that wants to see Derek Carr shake off the rust of last week, Erik McCoy come back next week. And I kind of want to see that the Clint Kubiak offense works again, and the Saints. I kind of want to see, oh shoot, it was just the injuries. This team probably was a 10-win team all along. There's a morbid part of me that wants to see that. I don't want to see last week over and over again for 8 more weeks. I really don't.
No, I'm with you on that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. He's on Twitter at Mike Triplett, NewOrleans.football, and our conversations are brought to you by Benny's Car Wash, Benny'sCarWash.com. Thanks as always, man.
Thank you.
All right. Be well. We're brought to you by Parrish Construction and Roofing. Visit parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. When you go to parishbuilt.com, you'll see commercial roofing, you'll see residential roofing, you'll see Parish Restoration. Tell you all the time about the patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. We also have a soft wash program as well. Maybe all that mildew, all the algae on your roof, quick soft wash. Knock that out, extend the life of your roof. Great for commercial buildings as well. It's Parrish Construction and Roofing. Do business with someone you know. That's me, that's Terrio, that's Richard Tilley, that's Joe Morales, that's Trent Davis. That's our great friendly staff. Come see us at our office right there on Lavo Lane, right off of Highlandia. If you're going down I-10, you cannot miss us. We're literally across I-10 from Blue Bayou. You know where Blue Bayou is? Just look across the interstate, and there you'll see our big illuminated Parrish Construction and Roofing sign. Do business with someone you know. Parrish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Okay, quick break. Thursday Night Football preview. By the way, Ross Dellinger has a little bit of breaking news about SEC football roster size. This makes no sense at all to me, but I'll get into it when we come back quickly. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for more than 3 decades. Get Gordon and get it done. Love telling you about Gordon. Of course, his great team of attorneys all over the state of Louisiana. They've represented tens of thousands of Louisiana residents, recovering $3 billion in damages. That number just keeps ticking up over and over. They are the experts. If you've been injured, don't go it alone. Trust the professionals at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. GetGordon.com, GetGordon.com. And I love telling you about the G Team as well. Gordon continues to expand the G Team. There's always great content up on all the socials. Go to @GetGordon on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok. Go to @GetGordon, and you can see the one-on-one sit-downs with Whit Weeks and West Weeks and Josh Williams and Mason Taylor and all the great members of the G Team. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
The only thing scary about the deals at Bayou Ford is if you miss out on them, like $15,000 off F-150. Bayou Ford has $15,000 off Ford F-150. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you. The only thing scary about the deals at Bayou Ford is if you miss out on them, like $15,000 off F-150. Bayou Ford has $15,000 off Ford F-150. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Darin. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Ross Dellinger over at Yahoo tweeted a bit ago. Actually, now that I look at the timestamp on this was just before 3 o'clock, so it's right as we came on the air. He tweeted this. I'm just seeing it in my feed right now. Remember, with the House settlement, part of that was that rosters in college football, you were adding 20 scholarship players. You're going from 85 to 105. Well, the Southeastern Conference has set a football scholarship limit of 85 for the 2025 season. That's 20 fewer than the max, which is allowed under the House settlement's restructure. So schools can go up to 105. 85 scholarships, 20 walk-ons. This is just in the Southeastern Conference. But I, for the life of me, can't understand why you would put yourself at this competitive disadvantage. Here's the statement that Ross tweeted, and I would presume this is the statement that he got from the SEC in response to Yahoo's request as why they're staying at 85. I'll read it to you. It's a few sentences. As football coaches recruit now to build rosters for the 2025 season, it was important to provide them with parameters to manage this interim period as we await a final ruling on the House settlement, which would address how scholarships are managed going forward. SEC schools will maintain 85 scholarship limit for the 2025 season, the same as in past years, with an overall roster size to be established by the settlement if it is approved. Okay. So, this is really consequential. So I guess here's the point. If, let's say, hypothetically, you go to 105 in 2025 and the House settlement settles on a different number, well, then you could, in theory, have too many scholarship players on your roster, and then you have to cut people effectively. So maybe that's what they're thinking. That's understandable if that's the case. I was under the impression with the House settlement that this roster structure was done. If that's not the case, I guess I understand that. But there are going to be other leagues that put you, that will have 105 scholarship players that would in turn put you at a competitive disadvantage. The other thing I would tell you is part of our entire conversation in looking at this recruiting class for LSU and future classes has been you're more willing to take a guy that's a fringe guy because you've added 20 scholarship spots on your roster, right? So I'll give you an example. Jacob Bradford is a player that LSU just flipped from Houston. I'm not saying Jacob Bradford wouldn't have an LSU scholarship anyway. Please don't misunderstand me. But he's a guy that, from Catholic High in Baton Rouge, his brother Blaine's a 5-star for next year. 3-star, 4-star, depending on which service you look at. And he's kind of one of those, if you had the hard cap of 25, he's probably one of those guys that would have been a borderline guy, right? Like we've seen in years past with guys like Foster Morrow and Lloyd Cushenberry, guys that you go, hey, hang with me until signing day. I won't know. And look, there's 3 guys waiting to see what they do. We're hard capped at 25. We've got 23 commitments. If we get all 3 of these guys, we don't have a spot. If we get 2 of them, we have a spot for you, whatever it may be. I don't think that math worked, but you know what I'm trying to say. And now, because you're going to 105 scholarships, you could take that guy. And it's better in this portal era to say, okay, kid from Baton Rouge wants to play at LSU, maybe not an expectation of playing right away. He'll come, we'll put him in our culture, our system, our coaches, our training staff, all of that, and let him grow and develop in our system. Instead of saying, hey, go to Houston, go somewhere else for 3 years, 2 years, and then transfer here. I love that idea. It's one of the things I love about expanding the roster, is it's going to give more opportunities to guys like that and allow you to build the depth in your program and in your roster. In a portal era where that's becoming increasingly more difficult. This feels odd to me, why the SEC is choosing to do this, unless if unless if they feel like the House settlement won't go through, which every other league is doing this. There's still a lot to be said here on this. We'll dig and we'll find out what we can find out. Hey, when the show ends, I'm jetting over to Supper Club. I'm looking forward to this. I've been telling y'all for weeks now. Thursday over at Supper Club is prime rib night over at Supper Club. Right there on Perkins Road near Bluebonnet. Golly, it's exquisite. Chef Layton serves up prime rib one night only. This is the only. It's not on the menu. It is a Thursday only special. 21-day, dry-aged, bone-in, tomahawk ribeye, slice and serve tableside, prime rib. The only night it's served at Supper Club is on Thursday. So come join me tonight. I'm leaving here going right over there. If you're not going to be at Supper Club tonight, next Thursday, make a plan. Be at Supper Club for prime rib. Also, every Thursday, they got their wine feature. They pop open a premier bottle of wine and sell it by the ounce. So you can try things that you otherwise may never have the option. Chef Layton also, I told you, they've got an exceptional whiskey selection. They've got their own Four Roses barrel pick there. And Chef Layton just texted me a little bit ago. I don't even think he knew that I was coming in tonight. But He said, check this out. It's the little book, The Infinite. It's one of the things we've talked about with Taylor. It's a blend of the 3 generations of distillers of their 2015 and 7-year whiskey. So I'll go give that I'll take that for a spin tonight as well. Looking forward to it over at Supper Club. Maybe we'll see you over there tonight. Come hang out. Maybe you're knocking off work. Get on by, have a cocktail, a glass of wine, open seating at the bar, or get your reservations at supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. All right, been a really good show. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Remember, you can always email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Would always encourage as well to please check out LouisianaSports.net. Of course, we broke the news earlier today of Omar the Tiger coming into Tiger Stadium. Live Tiger returning to Tiger Stadium. Everybody's got it now. Peter's responded to it. It's been a bit of a whirlwind, but it'll be part of Saturday with LSU and Alabama. Livy Dunn and Paul Skeens are the joint guest pickers for College Game Day. Going to be a lot of fun, man. This big football Saturday in Baton Rouge for LSU and Alabama with so much on the line. Of course, we'll have you here tomorrow for our Football Friday edition of AFR with Phil Steele. We'll do our guest picker. We'll have a great time. And thanks, Stanford Steve from College Game Day was with us in hour number 1 if you missed that. Pat Smith from WJOX was here last hour. You just heard Mike Triplett. You miss anything, AFR On Demand presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time at golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. Okay, final break of the show. We'll come back. Jimmy will be here for Auto Locks. Auto Locks should already be live over at LouisianaSports.net, but to be very candid with the Tiger story, it just became a bit of a whirlwind of a day, oddly. But anyway, LouisianaSports.net, Auto Locks is next on AFR.
After further review.
Hey, tomorrow, of course, is Friday, so tomorrow the LSU football team will be at the Renaissance Hotel. Of course, love to tell you all the time about the Watermark and the Renaissance Watermark downtown, Renaissance Southtown right there on Bluebonnet. For every home LSU game, the Friday night before those home games, the LSU Tigers, they go stay at the Renaissance Hotel. It's a hotel large and sprawling enough to host the entire LSU football program, not only with their guest rooms, but all the meeting space as well. That's why I tell you, if you're trying to have a board meeting or a fundraiser or a corporate event or a wedding reception, no matter what event and what size or scale, the Renaissance Hotel wants to help. They like to say, we're in the business of saying yes. If it's the corporate boardrooms for maybe a dozen people with all the technology that you would need for a board meeting, or the grand ballroom that can host as many as 500 people, it's the Renaissance Hotel. Check them out right there on Bluebonnet, Watermark downtown, and the Renaissance on Bluebonnet.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment. Dave's back on. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Join us at Pro Dreams in Mandeville for our special event, A Day of Champions. Meet LSU National Championship winning head coaches Jay Johnson, Skip Bertman, and Paul Maneri. Don't miss your chance to purchase authentic sports memorabilia, autographed by the champions themselves. It's the perfect opportunity to celebrate LSU baseball and take home a piece of history. Visit pro-dreams.com to get your tickets. See you there.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire...
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here on a Thursday edition of AFR. Presented by Decision Critical. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Otter, how are you?
Good, Matt. How about you?
I'm doing awesome. What a day, man. Pretty big one on Thursday Night Football tonight as well. What are we looking at?
Oh, man. Boy, the college games are really, really tough to pull the trigger on. I mean, it's the value's on the dog, but the dogs are so cold in those. But let's go to Baltimore and Cincinnati. Rematch where Cincinnati had this game. They blew it. There's no room for error for Joe Burrow this year. He doesn't have a running game. Mixon's gone. They got a bunch of third down backs, and they're averaging about 2 yards a carry. That's what they averaged last time against Baltimore. And he doesn't have great protection, doesn't have great defense, but he's got Jamar Chase. And so, without Tietgen, I mean, he's going to go to him a lot. I think Joe Burrow's going to have a 300-yard passing game tonight. I think he's going to throw for over 1.5 TDs. So those for the props, but I do think Derrick Henry, who I think is faster, I think he's in better shape. He's way more of a home run hitter than he used to be in his days at Tennessee. So I got Derrick Henry as plus money over 100 rushing yards and to score a TD as well. I just don't see how they're gonna stop Henry. He's averaging 115 yards. That's against normal defenses. This is a bad defense. Yeah. He should have his way tonight. So those are the props. Those are 4 props.
Okay.
And Bengals are desperate, but Ravens only 5-3. They're acting like they're way out in front. But I got to take Baltimore minus the 6 in this spot. So,
all right, Baltimore minus the 6, and a whole bunch of props there, including Derrick Henry. Tomorrow, Football Friday over at Ruffino's.
Football Friday, Richard Dixon and Charlie start off at 10 a.m. Then we get going. My buddy Chris Macero had a 4-1 week last week from San Diego. His 5-pack, me, Max, and Charlie with our 5-packs. Bruce Marshall, Paul Stone, Troy Macker. So got a bunch of contributors tomorrow. And we'll run down the whole sheet from the week this week at the end of the show.
All right, Otter, have a great show tomorrow, man. Good luck tonight. We'll be watching.
All right, good luck, Matt. See you.
Man, be well. That's Jimmy Ott, of course, Otter Locks, and you can check it out tomorrow, Football Friday, with the guys over at Ruffino's. By the way, Charles and Jimmy now are on YouTube as well, so I know a lot of people watch our shows throughout the day on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. Live at lunch with Charles and Jimmy from 11 to 1 weekdays now on YouTube as well. So they'll watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube, where you see Off the Bench, The Hunt Palmer Show, AFR. You can now see Live at Lunch on YouTube as well. Hey, T-Bob and I usually on Thursdays are over at Curbside for Scone and Tea. But T-Bob has an event tonight over at the Queen Casino for Thursday Night Football. Actually, next Thursday, he's doing Kids on the Catwalk for Dreams Come True of Louisiana. A lot of commitments. But we recorded Scone and Tea, that the podcast and the YouTube video are published, so you can check those out. And if you want to listen to Scone and Tea this week, it just won't be live from curbside. And next week, if we may switch the day, we'll keep you posted on all that. But we appreciate everybody's patience with that. But if you want to get by curbside, right there in Government, awesome spot as always. Okay, wrapping up here on this this Thursday edition of AFR. We appreciate everybody. Stanford Steve from College Game Day was here in hour number 1. We had our Fantasy Blitz. Pat Smith from WJOX. We previewed LSU and Alabama. Mike Triplett was here just a smidge ago. If you missed anything, catch AFR on demand, presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time at golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. Big shout out to our friends over at Decision Critical. I love telling you about them. From birth to end of life care. Maybe you're having an operation, maybe you're having a procedure done, you need in-home nursing. Maybe you're now as a parent in your 40s or 50s caring for your elderly parent, and you need in-home care. You want Decision Critical. Every nurse handpicked by Blaise Rivette, their founder and CEO, who I've told you before. Blaise was a CV nurse who took care of Drew whenever he was a baby. And I just have the utmost confidence and in her level of care, and their nurses are exceptional. It's Decision Critical, DecisionCriticalBR.com. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Healthcare for your lifestyle. DecisionCriticalBR.com. DecisionCriticalBR.com. Okay, it's going to do it for us here. We'll have our guest picker tomorrow, provided Terrio cooperates. He was supposed to cooperate. We'll, I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted, not going to lie to you. That Tiger story keeps evolving. And anyway, use Paulie, thanks. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
After further review.
As we get on down the road, let me remind you about Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com, Michelli, Michelli.com. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Y'all, at Michelli, go to the website and hit the services tab. It's something I always encourage you to do. I think most everybody in the industries that they serve, and there's dozens of them, know Michelli for scales. Michelli is our nation's largest distributor of scales. They sell them, they maintain them, service them, all that stuff. But they do so much more. All of your precision measurement equipment, they can calibrate all of that. They can sell it, they can service it, all the different types of calibration that they offer. You can check it all out at the website. A lot of people know Michelli for scales. They go to the website and they go, oh, I didn't know you did that. So go check it out. It's an amazing resource. You can request a quote there. You can find how you can ship your equipment to them if you'd like them to pick it up for you. Lots of different ways they could do it. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. At Michelli, we show the world what measurement can do.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you in a new 2024 Ram 1500 truck for only $32,898. $32,898 for a new Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Darin. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.